Oh, what is going on, everybody? How's everybody doing this evening? Happy Friday, TGIF, whatever you want to say. I see Joe's in the comments. We got Autumn. Hopefully, she's in the comments. She's in the room right over here. Stinky. I see he's in the comments as well. What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing this evening? How's your week been? What up, Pete? Pete Nation in the house. The man that helped inspire my video today. I appreciate you, Pete. Thank you so stinking much for that awesome discovery set that you sent me. Guys, so I am actually, well, I'm not home, obviously. There's no collection behind me. I'm actually over at Autumn's house. I'm going to be cat sitting this evening. And so I do apologize if maybe, the internet's a little laggy. I'm working with my old laptop here. I did bring my mic. At least I've got good sound. But yeah, tonight's going to be a great one. We got Michael from For the Scent of It. We are going to be talking about some of new releases, kind of getting to know Michael. Oh, aquarium supervisor skills. I love it, man. It's good to see you, Skills. Oh, let me get my pillows adjusted. Oh, that's better. It's nice. So yeah, I'm rocking. What's everybody's scent of the day? I got to know what everybody's scent of the day is. I think that's all the most important part. What is everybody rocking this fine feathered Friday? So I just want to give you guys some updates real quick on the channel. As you guys have seen, I've been doing a lot more going out and about, kind of doing more of a vlog style, sort of, I guess you could say, trying to incorporate a little bit of where I live. And also I'm doing that because like next weekend I will be up in Ohio with one of my subscribers. We're going to be doing some work or videos together. And then also Kyler in the house. What's up, brother? Oh, Kyler's rocking Safari. Let me see if these are going to pop up. Okay, cool. Sorry, my computer is slow as crap. So you guys are probably seeing this before it even pops up on my computer. I have hopefully a new computer coming soon. Scent of the day is 9 p.m. Awesome. It's a great Ultramall, I guess you could say clone, inspired by, whatever you'd like to say. We've got Kenneth Cole Reaction. Man, I rocked the crap out of that back in the day. Autumn is rocking Extra by Shelter and Perfume. What up, Omega? Great to see you, buddy. Anyway, so I'm doing a bunch of traveling. So I will be in Vegas the 29th of this month through August 2nd. I will be doing a bunch of recording in Vegas. Hopefully Tony hops on here, Random Ass Fragrances. I hope to be doing a video with him, and kind of the same thing. We'll be doing vlog style. And then as soon as I get back, I'm going to be back in Chattanooga for one day. And then I fly out to Orange County, LA area for my birthday. So I'll be gone and doing the same thing. So we're going to be doing some travel vlogs / fragrance reviews. I think it's been a lot of fun. It's been really good for, honestly, my headspace. So I really appreciate you guys enjoying them. And if you don't, I don't care. I'm just kidding. I do care. I do. I care so much. Like I used to never put timestamps on any of my videos, and somebody mentioned that I should put timestamps. So from here on out, I always do timestamps on my videos. All right, Roma from Heaven in the house. Man, I was going through my Bortnikoff collection yesterday, and I was thinking about you, actually, man. You popped in my head. Tony is in the house. What up, buddy? My scent of the day, I don't have it with me, but I'm rocking, of course, I'm going to be rocking a For the Scent of It, and it's my favorite. It's Blackwood Sun. Sting and love that fragrance. And as soon as I walked in the house, Autumn was like, oh my God, you smell so good. So, yep, I'll be California bound. I'll be there from August 4th through the 9th. So I'll be there for a full 5 days because I'm flying out late on the 9th. So I actually don't get back into I'm flying into Nashville till after midnight. It's going to be great. All right. Good to see everybody, man. Like I said, if you guys are new to the chat, welcome. Tonight we will be having Michael from For the Scent of It. If you guys are not familiar, For the Scent of It is an indie perfume house. that has really been blowing my mind as of late. I've really been enjoying what Michael's doing. I figured I'd get him on here. We could talk about what's coming up, for his lineup, especially for the summer. I've got two fragrances, two samples that we're going to be going over. Two of his newest frags coming out, so I'm excited about that. Haven't sprayed them yet, but yeah. And you guys ask all the questions you would like. But I guess without further ado, we got 12 people in here. And while you guys are at it, if you guys are in here, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps us get our 2 cents out there. Not just my 2 cents, but our 2 cents. Anywho, I guess you know what? We got 12 people in here. We'll go ahead and well now actually I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait just a little bit. I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm going to make Michael sweat it out a little bit. Sit in the background. But let me know in the comments. What do you guys think of the, the kind of the new little, series that I'm doing? I really appreciate y'all's thoughts, and been getting a lot of great feedback. So please let me know. This channel isn't just about me; it's about you guys. So whatever, it's not about what floats my boat. I mean, it kind of is, but I really want to, This is a fragrance family channel. I want it to be all about all of us. Heck yeah, always hit the like button before joining. Damn right. Damn right. I like that. Oh, Fragrance Dude. I love this name. What's up, buddy? Great to see you, my friend. Johnny Aromatic says, yeah, to the new series. Thank you. I think I'm going to keep it going for a while. I got some really cool spots, because I don't know if you guys know this, but Chattanooga, Tennessee has the world's largest vintage guitar museum. $77 million worth of in single. It's a one man who owns the collection. $77 million of guitars. So I'm going to be going there and doing a series in this whole little series things. Let's see, last two pickups. Oh shit, I gotta turn that off. James says, I absolutely love the new series. Outdoors and fragrances are hand in hand. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We got some new pickups from Omega. Last two pickups, Gucci Intense Oud and Stronger With You Oud. I'm going to be trying that Stronger With You Oud next weekend. I'm excited about that. I might actually be picking up a bottle from my buddy. Tony, it's great to see you. I need to actually send you or DM you soon so we can talk about meeting up very soon. I guess, 2 weeks? Less than 2 weeks? God, man, it's crazy. I can't wait. Brian appreciates that. Thank you. Thank you, Skills. I love it. Aquarium Supervisor. It's great. Just got sent the Imaginary Author short story collection. I love their fragrances. Yeah, they have very, very interesting fragrances. Some of them are quite challenging, but like I said, I'm always up for a challenge. I tried the that Discovery set not too long. Well, I guess it's over a year ago now. I need to revisit them. Brian, whitewater rafting is fantastic. Yep. I got offered to go again this Saturday, but I opted out. I've got other things I got to do. So anyways, well, we got 14 people in here. I'm not going to keep you all waiting. Let's get Michael in here. Get your questions ready. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw them up. Super chats are more than welcome. You don't have to, no pressure whatsoever. Whatever, you guys help me out with, it goes straight back to the channel to help put out some great content. So yeah, let's do this. All right, here we go. Mike. I like that you put Mike. All right. I like calling him Michael. I'm bringing him on.
Yeah.
There we go.
To each their own.
What up, Mike?
What's going on, buddy?
What's up, Mike? I'm Mike Jones. Sorry.
Michael, Mikey. Mikey always reminds me of like Italian mafia, though.
Yeah, it's like my cousin Tommy, which if he ever he'll never watch this ever. Anyways, he hates when I call him Tommy, but I grew up calling him Tommy.
Yeah,
he's like, Brian, I'm 39. I guess I think he's a year. He's almost 39. He's like, I'm almost 2 years older than you. I was like, I don't care. You're always gonna be Tommy to me.
It's funny. I had a cousin named Paulie, So I get what you're saying.
Holy. All right, man. So, guys, this is Michael from For the Scent of It. I know you guys have seen him talked, you've seen me talk about For the Scent of It quite a bit. You've heard me talk about Tobacco Pod, Blackwood Sun, Black Sails, Epis Fern, Ood Cafe, Wasteland Warrior, and so on and so forth, and Creme de Bergamot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think how many I actually have. I got like 8 or 9. I don't even know. Mike, let's get to know you a little bit. For those of you guys who have not really experienced or, got your nose on anything from For the Scent of It, what got you started in this journey, Mike?
So it started, I think it was like 2010. I was looking I used to wear just Dolce & Gabbana light blue all the time.
Boring. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but no,
Just
it's
kidding.
true though. That, and I think even a girlfriend of mine in high school bought me Hollister. I think it was Jake, that old brown bottle. So I used to wear that. So it was like 2010. I had my own apartment and I was trying to figure out something. I just dove down into a rabbit hole trying to find a new scent. So I started watching. Do you guys remember like Robes 08?
I love Robes. Robes.
Yeah.
He was one of my first.
Watching his Redolescence and all those videos back before even Redolescence had his own line and everything like that. But And then I wound up finding La Nuit de l'Homme, and it just blew my mind because I didn't realize, after smelling like Aqua de Jo and Dolce & Gabbana light blue, I didn't even know a men's scent could smell like that. So 80 fragrances later, I wound up, my now wife said to me, why don't you try to figure out how to make them yourself? So I'm like, yeah, how hard could it be? Turns out it's extremely difficult. So I wound up, that's like 7 years ago now. So I didn't launch For the Scent of It until March of 2021. Yeah, 2021. And I spent about 6 years trying to figure out, I spent like a year pretty much doing absolute nonsense because I was working with fragrance oils and just pretty much anything that you could find that was cheap. And then I quickly realized that you can't make a quality scent that way. So yeah, I spent a good 5 years kind of honing my craft, if you will, making trial and error. It was a lot of trial and error, training your nose, because you can't really figure out how to make a fragrance online, but you can figure out how to learn how to make a fragrance. If that makes sense. Like you can figure, like you have to train your nose. The biggest thing is memorizing materials, and a lot of people take it for granted. Like you figure you can just throw something together in a bottle and it's going to turn out good, but understanding longevity of each material, how they interact with each other, all of that, it's just a lot of money and a lot of trial and error of just rinse, repeat, throw away, do it all over again. But
yeah,
during that time, I worked in tool and stamping, tool and die. I worked in manufacturing, making like metal products. Like we used to make for Ford Motor Company. We used to make for the F-150s, the dust bracket on the brake pads. So that's what I did. I used to run progressive dyes, progressive tooling. So I did that from 2010 to 2010 to 2021, and then I quit my job during COVID, which was a bit risky, but
I didn't know that you did that. I know we've talked plenty of times before. I had no idea that you worked on basically on like a manufacturing line. That's cool.
No, I was good at it too, man. I actually,
I'm sure.
Not even to toot my own horn, I was one of like the few guys in that shop to know how to run every single punch press and then I started, because I actually worked on the weekend shift for a good 7 years, which gave me 4 days off, but I had to work 13 and a half hours Friday, Saturday, Sunday each day. So I worked from 5 to 6:30 at night. And then that gave me, because there's nobody on shift at that time, so I had to learn how to do everything. So it gave me chance and opportunity though to kind of get a good work ethic though, because before that I was just your average teenager. I mean,
yeah, right. So I got to make us bigger, man. I'm old. My eyes are so bad. I've got to see us this way.
When
I'm looking at it. High school?
Yeah.
2003.
Oh, so you actually graduated when I went in. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you're a little older.
Fuck off, dude. You just called me old. I'm just kidding.
No,
it's all right. I know. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'll be 38 August 8th. So, look forward to it, man. You know, gearing up for 40. So, let me say, Michael, great to see you. It's great to see you in the chats, my friend. Michael H is a great guy. Mark went rogue. Tony is saying, I still haven't tried. No, he said oh yeah, Robes 08. Yeah.
He said Mark. I think that was his name, right? Mark.
Yeah. It took me a second, and then when you said Robes 08, because I always call him as Robes.
Yeah.
I still haven't tried any for the scent of it. Well, Tony, I'll bring some with me so you can sample it. I've got a ton of samples that I can bring to you.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Tobacco pot is my go-to comfort scent, and I also love Forbidden Fig. Autumn needs. That's Autumn.
Autumn, yeah.
Yeah, she needs a bottle of Forbidden Fig. She ran out of her little tester bottle or her little sample.
Yeah.
And she keeps bugging me about fragrances, and I'm like, your birthday's August 11th. Quit. Just don't ruin the surprise, okay?
Also, you guys share like pretty much the same birthday.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, so also Chris Fox from the Fox Accord, we're going to be celebrating our birthdays together. His is August 6th and mine's August 8th, and he lives in LA, and it just so happens I'll be in the area. So look forward to that. What up, Blake? Great to see you, buddy. Iran punch press laser plasma shear and weld. Says
nice.
Stinky.
So
yeah.
He knows.
Yeah. And Skell says learning perfumery is a lot like learning an instrument. Of course, there's going to be trial and error. I mean, when, even for me, when, building cocktails for so long.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. I mean,
it's tons of trial and error. I mean, especially when you get into the real crafty. And that's how I am. I'm just very crafty.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. What's your favorite fragrance then?
Outside of mine?
Yeah. Mine? What's your no, not your no. What is your favorite fragrance outside? Let me rephrase this, and not tobacco vanille.
Yeah, tobacco pod. It's all right. Well, I'll answer this. We'll end up talking about that. But so my favorite fragrance, probably after everything I've ever smelled, is the original Dior Homme Parfum. I think that scent, because honestly, so as like a self-trained perfumer, it's inevitable. The only way you're ever going to learn it is you have to try to dissect fragrances on the market. And as much as people try to be like, oh, well, that's how you end up copying, it's the only possible way to learn is you train your nose and you try to figure out how a professionally trained perfumer, because if you can't get into the five places that are in the Givaudan school or Firmenich or Maine, if you can't get into those schools because you don't have a chemistry degree, then, I mean, they have like Quentin Bish. He got accepted into the Givaudan school, but he did not have a chemistry degree. Just the headmaster of the school liked him so much and decided to welcome him in. But to get into the school, you usually have to have a chemistry background because they don't want to have to teach you that.
Right.
So I had to train myself kind of basic organic chemistry, like carbon, and trying to understand how, because you can kind of figure it out teaching it yourself, like how molecules interact with each other, but you can't really expect yourself to fully understand it. It's just not going to happen. I mean, unless you really dive into it. But the way I learned, like tobacco pod, I don't name tobacco vanille in there because I'm not gonna name that. It's not a replica by any chance. I literally spent, honestly, man, probably a good 2 years going back and forth trying to figure out how to make that tobacco note. And then when I finally did it, I was like, hell yeah, because we all know it's an expensive fragrance. So I wanted to be able to offer something of a similar quality, but it's not a replica by any means, and it's not. Some people probably think tobacco vanille is better, and I don't blame you. I mean, it's made by an amazing perfumer. So, but I wanted to try to create something similar, and I went through, I think it was like I was on 154 different modifications. Most of them just went in the trash. It was actually like trial 40 that I kept going back to, that I realized kind of how to build that fragrance, and then I just kind of did my own thing after it.
Right.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, to figure, and that's when I worked the weekend shift. I had those 4 days off. Monday, I was usually beat tired after working 40 hours in 3 days. But yeah, I would spend literally day after day just studying in my tiny little lab in my apartment at the time. And
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that's the way you got to do it. Like, if you really have a dream and a passion for something, the best, you just got to do it.
Yeah. But
I'm the same way.
Dior Homme Parfum is hands down, I think, one of the most brilliant. I can't figure it out, like, no matter how much. And that's kind of how I went off on that tangent there. I've smelled that fragrance so many times. I can pick up some of the materials that were used in it in the dry down, because that's how you study a fragrance. So if you want to try to learn, and this is just like a little piece of advice, because there seems to be a lot of people now who want to make their own fragrances. So the way you figure out how to make a fragrance, spray a perfume, like for instance, spray Dior Homme Parfum, and then wait till the next day or 2 days later, spray another strip, a second one, not the same one. Spray that, and then smell that scent strip or the other one, and vice versa. And what you'll end up doing is you'll pick up on the base notes, because most materials that are in the base last on a scent strip anywhere from 24 hours all the way to like 10 months. Right. Well, maybe not 10 months, but like a month or two. So when you smell it, you can end up, what you do is you like saturate your olfactory bulb. And what you can then do is figure out, oh, this is what's in the top. This is what's in the base. So when you smell that base accord after 2 days, then when you smell the top, you'll pick up, oh, I can smell bergamot. I can smell dihydromercenol. I can pick up on all these different notes that you won't smell when it's just beautifully blended all together.
So okay, so actually this is a twofer question. Yeah. All right. So do you start with a base ingredient and build from the base to the top?
So
or do you do top to the base?
Yeah.
Like, do you do like, so like when I like, and this is just me doing it, going back to like cocktail knowledge. Like, I always built everything based around one ingredient, like if it was whiskey or whatever, one spirit.
Yeah.
And I'd always build backwards. And Margie, beautiful Margie's in the house. So I just want to say, Margie Noir, hello. Yeah. So do you build, so do you build the base and you build on top of that, or how do you do it? What is the method to your madness?
So it's kind of, I spent a lot of time when I was first learning it, there's a lot of misinformation online. So a lot of people say you build the base accord first and then you build up from that. Some people say you build the heart first. So after the top notes dissipate and you're left with like rose, jasmine, all those notes, they're also part of the base note. So like when you look at a classic triangle, right, or the pyramid,
right?
So it actually isn't really a good representation of how a fragrance is. So you actually smell the base notes as soon as you spray the perfume. The top notes and the heart notes are kind of used to mask the kind of harsh top notes, if you will, of like vetiver, for instance. Vetiver, as good as everybody loves vetiver, when you first smell vetiver in a perfume, it can be a bit harsh. So you have to try to mask that using top notes, heart notes, things like that. So when I build a fragrance, you have to start with like an idea. So what I do is, instead of like, Nearly New is pretty much one of the only fragrances I did where I started with a base. I was trying to build this for like I was picturing like this good cloudy citrus fragrance. So I ended up making the base accord, which was all these really expensive musks and broxin, vanilla, and all these different things, and vanilla and iris. And all of a sudden that in and of itself smelled amazing. So I just literally decided I'm going to leave it as is. And that's how Nearly New came to be. But when I usually build a fragrance, I start with an idea. Like Forbidden Fig was that Sylvia Plath poem where she's sitting underneath a fig tree and she's trying to decide on what path in life she's going to take. And each fig, you know what I mean? But each fig seemed such the perfect path to take. And she knows that if she chooses one, she can't choose the other. And I thought it was such like, it's not a poem, but it's part of the Bell Jar, but it's like a book of her writings. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make like that imagery. I've always loved fig. And so what I started with was building a fig accord. See, I don't necessarily start from the ground up. I usually start with like the concept. So like Wasteland Warrior, I knew it was going to be all cedar. So I started with the blood cedar. And then what I try to do is build an accord around that. So it's still the star of it. Because what happens if you have this concept, and what you end up doing is you can get off track so quickly. it's so easy. Just like if you're building a drink, right? You can just keep adding stuff to that cocktail, and all of a sudden it's just, you can't tell what flavor is which anymore. You know what I mean? So it's almost like you muddy it. That's the term I always use in perfumery is, if you keep just adding materials, eventually it gets muddy. Like there's no, like it might smell good, but it has no concept. It has no balance. It's just there. You know what I mean? So what I try to do is build, like Forbidden Fig, Tobacco Pod. It was all trying to figure out how to build that tobacco heart note. And it's the same thing with pretty much all of them. It all just starts with this general concept that you start with, and then kind of branch off from there. Like I honestly, so when like Epi's Fern, what I do is I start with like a Venn diagram, or not a Venn diagram, like an exploded spider view type of thing. So I start with the concept. So I wanted like a minty star anise fougere, because the whole idea was I wanted to challenge myself to make, because I don't like mint and I don't like star anise. I've always hated black licorice. I just as a perfumer, you kind of can't hate a note, but I hate the smell of black licorice. So I wanted to make a perfume that was those two notes, but in a way that I enjoyed it, and hopefully other people would enjoy it, because I know those two notes are tough for a lot of people because they remind of like toothpaste and like licorice from when you're a child that grandma had at her house. You know what I mean? Like I have some candy. So what I tried to
either that or Werther's Original. Werther's Original.
I actually like Werther's, so
I do too. My grandma was a butterscotch lady. She's like, have a butterscotch.
Werther's I don't know is like the upper class of butterscotch, though. So
yeah, well, my nanny was upper class.
Apparently. So like Epi's Fern is, what I wanted to do was start out with the idea of, I'm going to use star anise, I'm going to use mint. And then what I do is I go out, and you know how you have notes in a fragrance, right?
Of course.
So you see rose in a perfume. It's not just rose. It's not like, oh, hey, there's rose. You have to create the rose. Either you use naturals, which I use a lot. Like in Ood Cafe, I used almost 1% of pure rose absolute, and then built the rose accord even around that by using other rose materials. So when in Epi's Fougere or Epi's Fern, what I tried to do was, I knew that there was going to be mint and star anise, but so what I start out with like a circle, right? And then I go off in these tangents and these lines. So like sandalwood, what materials am I going to use for my sandalwood accord? Now you have to be careful about what materials you choose, because they have to correlate with the other materials you choose. And that's the thing. So like you can just throw sandalwood into a bottle with rose and galbanum or whatever you want to throw in, but is it going to smell good? Probably not. I mean, it might smell decent, but even natural perfumers who have to use essential oils, absolutes, now they get to use like isolates, like benzyl acetate. So that used to be just like a synthetic, and then you can actually have natural benzyl acetate that smells like banana and jasmine. So now they can use that, because it's all about like linking. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's all about making these connections between all the materials you use and having them correlate well together with their evaporation profile. Right. If that makes sense. Because
no, totally makes sense.
Yeah, because everything evaporates at a different rate. So if you put like orange in your perfume, you can put like 10% orange. No matter how much you put in, it's going to be stronger in the top. But within a half hour, if that, on somebody's skin, it's gone.
Let me ask you a question. Do you use a lot of like, and I don't really, I know I probably asked this question before, but is it also based on density and viscosity of the weight of your ingredients?
So that kind of correlates to their boiling point. So like viscosity, so like a very viscous material, like labdanum absolute, right? So that's very vicious. Like it's just like trying to move honey. So usually when a material is very thick or vicious, odds are it's going to last a lot longer. Because when it's a lot slower moving, that means that the molecule is typically larger. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that, because I haven't like studied molecular chemistry very well. So, but it's usually the larger the molecule, the larger it's. I think the higher its boiling point, the longer it will last. But don't quote me on that. I have not studied that in a while.
I've studied molecular gastronomy,
Yeah.
and I think you're right, but
Yeah.
it's been a while.
I'm pretty
So,
sure. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, again,
I
people
mean,
do not quote us on that.
yeah, I mean, I've made all sorts of crazy stuff, like cocktail caviar and
But
I've it's cool, crazy shit, dude. I used to do
so
crazy
and
stuff.
there's the other side of it, right? So usually like solids, right, or crystalline materials
Mhm.
like ambroxan, coumarin, or vanillin, they usually last long. Like that is kind of what you look at them, and they last long because they are high viscosity, if you will, right?
Right.
So if you have something that's really liquid, odds are it's probably not going to last long, like water. You don't smell it. Dextrolimonene does not last very long. But the other end of that is, so you have camphor. Camphor does not last long at all, but it's also a crystalline substance. So it's
I
kind of
love
like
camphor
this.
though. I love camphor.
Do
I
you?
think I absolutely do. I
So you
love
like
it because
rosemary then and stuff like that, right?
I do love rosemary. I love
Yeah.
rosemary, basil, any kind of like camphorous qualities, but just camphor alone because it does, you're right, it doesn't last very long, but it
No.
really helps a fragrance get established. It
Yeah.
helps you understand, like, okay, so this is where this is going.
Yeah.
I like this. One fragrance, that comes to mind is Yuzu Soda by Stranger's Perfumery.
Yeah, I've never tried his perfume. That's Prin, right?
Prin
Out of
Limrose. He's out
Thailand.
of Thailand.
Yeah.
He's awesome. He's awesome, but that camphor, and it wasn't until I started kind of diving more into into a lot of his fragrances because he uses that camphor ingredient, that note a lot. Let's see here. All right, let's catch up on a little bit of some comments here. I got vetiver essential oil thinking it was going to smell grassy, but it's like serrano pepper smell. I have some as well, and I think it's different. I think because it depends on what type of
vetiver,
of course, vetiver you're getting,
so
like bourbon
Haitian
vetiver, Java.
Yeah, exactly. Vetiver Java is more kind of smoky, bacony, not really kind of smoky and dirty smelling. Haitian vetiver has more of a grapefruit note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's see what fragrance dude. What's crazy? I went to Scent and Sip in Philly, and they had 500 fragrance oils to make your own, and just mix together 8 synthetic oils, and it's my top 5 fragrances I own. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's the big thing though. So it's just like a lot of these, and to be honest, so I'll just say this. So when I first launched For the Scent of It, I thought I was actually going to be kind of not. I didn't think there were going to be a lot of independent brands that launched, and I probably should have expected it after COVID. But there were tons of brands that launched after COVID. So that honestly, that blew my mind because I wasn't on Instagram prior to that. I was never big on social media until like For the Scent of It. Like I don't have a personal Instagram or anything like that.
I do. It's floating around out there, but I haven't checked it in 3 years. I just checked I was trying to find a picture of me with a handlebar mustache.
Did you?
So if you guys want, no, you can go. You can go on Facebook and do Brian Lindsay. I'll spell it out for you. It's BrianLindsay. You'll see my picture up there. It's like a bunch of stuff that happened like prior to COVID, but there is a picture of me with my giant handlebar mustache, and it's freaking awesome. I miss it, but I'll never do it again because it was a lot of maintenance. I had it for 4 years. And I got tired.
You gotta use like the wax, and you gotta.
Oh yeah, I waxed it all the time. And I would I was bartending, so I'd always get off work late at night, forget to take the wax out. I'd wake up, my handlebar, like my mustache is stuck up my nose. I'm not kidding. I'd be like, "Ow, what the hell?" Because it was long, it was real long. I got tired of getting asked for mustache rides. So
yeah, that seems like a bit much.
Thank you so much, Michael. Michael's knowledge is a lot better than mine. He knows all the ingredients and all that stuff. I'm still learning. I'm always going to be a sponge in this industry. I'd never think that I'll ever get to know everything.
No, it's tough. Honestly, I still am learning all the time. Like there's times where I figure out, oh wow, this didn't work or this does work. And I mean, and that's honestly, I think it would be boring because that's the thing. So I loved perfume. That's how I turned in. I have like 80 perfumes in my collection. I mean, I stopped collecting once I got into this, but I was like obsessed, man. Like every paycheck, it did not matter. Half of it was probably gone to perfume. It never failed. So
well, I get it, because I've bought a lot of your fragrances.
Yeah, no, and I know you get it. And that's what I was most concerned about. I was worried that once I got into this, and once you kind of learn how perfume is made, does it lose its beauty? Does it lose its mystery? Because that's the toughest thing.
Yeah, no, I get that.
It opens up another door. So instead of like, yes, you don't, now I know how it's made. And yes, you don't have that mystery anymore. Personally, like if you're a collector, learning how it's made does get rid of the mystery and like the beauty of, wow, I have no idea what I'm smelling. Once you learn, oh, I know what I'm smelling. Yes, it does get rid of that aspect of it, but it opens a whole nother door. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, dude, when I was in the, the cocktail world, like that's the thing. That's the reason I got into like molecular gastronomy. Like I always wanted to keep learning new things. Like when I got into molecular gastronomy, like I said, I used to put an entire cocktail into a sphere that would be on a spoon, and you drink the whole thing, and it's one big burst, but all the amount of alcohol that would go into a single cocktail was in a single little gelatin sphere.
That's cool.
I used to do cocktail cotton candy. Like, you would set it on top of the I keep saying the fragrance, the cocktail, and then it slowly would meld into the cocktail and change the whole scent profile. I would make ice cubes with different types of either booze, or I would like make smoke infused ice cubes or barbecue infused ice cubes. So when you're sipping your cocktail, I called it the everlasting gobstopper effect. You're always it's constantly changing the effect of the cocktail, which is always really, cool to me. Yeah, man. Well, fun fact, I'm getting back into bartending after I get back from LA. But
I was going to ask, why'd you get out of it?
Oh man, I got tired of it.
Late nights.
But now I'm going more into like professional bartending where I don't have late nights. It's just more of But
so can you do like the whole toss, catch behind your back?
Yeah, I can do all that shit.
Yeah, get the hell back into it. If you can do that.
I mean, I can stir 4 cocktails at one time. Like, man, that's cool. I can shake and stir at the same time. I can stir. Anyways, yeah, man. It's
master.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take a little bit for me to get back into it, but I look forward to it, man. So Skell says I almost lobotomized myself from my own mustache. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about some fragrances here. Yeah, Jeremy, House of Colossus in the hizzy. Okay, so as you guys know, I'm a big fan of Michael's work. I'm really glad that I found Michael. It was actually through Ken Sense that I found you. Yeah, through Ken, and we've been chatting back and forth. Finally, again. Sorry, I gotta hang on. Okay. My hair is bugging me. All right. But I know he's been super busy. I've been super busy. Life is life. So, but we're going to be, I know you guys are going live soon, probably on Instagram.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah, we've been talking. He's been, we were talking about Folktale actually today, and he was trying to throw notes at me to see if I would throw him a bone.
Well, we'll see. We'll get into those in just a second.
Yeah, I'm actually curious what you pick up on when you smell it.
Okay, so if you guys, like I said, if you guys have any questions for myself or Michael, please feel free to throw them in the chat. But yeah, okay, let's go ahead. Screw it, let's do Folktale.
All right.
Let me make sure. I made sure to wash my hands plenty of times because I was trying some bortnikoffs earlier today, but I'm all showered and ready to go. So
all right, fair enough.
Let's see here. So Folktale. So Folktale, what is the premise behind this? Give me a little story.
So I always had this idea. So when I used to be on Fragrancenet all the time, right? When I was a collector, I always saw there's not a lot of brands that don't list their notes. I mean, obviously we all know Alessandro with Nasomato. He doesn't list his notes.
Alessandro Gutierrez.
Correct. So I always thought that was a great idea, but to literally it didn't have to be the brand per se, but I wanted to do a fragrance that was hard to decipher to some extent and didn't have the notes. And it was more of like a community thing where everybody kind of either gets in an argument, says, yeah, that's BS, and kind of says, yeah, no, that's not what I smell, and start a conversation over it. But to come up with a fragrance that is hard to decipher is actually more difficult than you think, because everybody that's in the fragrance community has smelled a lot of fragrances.
I'm going to say this. I do get, I mean, whether or not you're using musks in this, I get some like kind of stanky musks,
See,
which I kind of like.
Yeah, I can't say no. I can't say yes, but
you're not allowed to tell me, are you? That's bullshit.
No. Come on, man. And so the premise for the name, originally,
I get it.
It was called Project Question Mark, because I'm like, it was just a question mark. Like, yeah, it's a project. But then I was trying to come up with a good name for it, and I was like, oh, folktale, which I was surprised no perfumer or no perfume brand has yet to use folktale, at least that I could find. But I thought, since folktales kind of change over time, right? You read, you're told, and every culture has a different way to tell the tale, and that was kind of the premise for the name, is that over time it'll change, and even the notes that I originally intended to be in there, maybe those will change too. I mean, I don't know. Every time I smell it, it smells a little different to me than it did the last time I smelled it. It's one of those fragrances where you pick up on nuances. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. It kind of reminds me of just things of my past. I don't know. And you were not
the first person to say that. For the giveaway for reaching 1,000 followers, I think like 3 or 4 people out of that giveaway that got those 5 bottles said, if not all of them actually, all said that it reminds them of either years in high school or years gone past, reminds them of their family, something like that, which I find very fascinating, because I'm curious what in it is reminding people of that.
It kind of almost has like almost a little bit of like, I get a little bit of like almost an immortelle vibe.
Okay.
I mean, there's a little bit of something. I don't even like citrus up top, but I'm not getting a whole lot of citrus now. I get a lot of like this almost, and don't take this the wrong way, but almost like a mothball quality, like a musky, old style, like, and I think that's what's kind of taking me back. It kind of reminds me of when I was going through I'm totally butchering this for people who want to buy it, because it smells really good. I'm just saying, it kind of takes me back to like when I was rummaging through after my grandmother died, like going through all of her stuff and smelling things and being like, oh wow, because my grandmother wore Chanel No. 5 her entire life, so everything that she owned smelled like Chanel No. 5.
I guess I can kind of I get what you're saying. That quality of it does smell, and somebody else said
so fresh.
Yeah, it almost smells. Yeah, like it's old. I don't know why. It does kind of have a dated. Personally, I thought it smelled like the most perfect unisex fragrance. Like it does not smell like a feminine, quote unquote, or a masculine. I thought it was just the perfect scent for people to. Some people are gonna love wearing it. Some people, it's just not gonna be their thing, which I'm fine with that. The whole idea was for people to kind of.
But I also get like a lemon head type of vibe going on, almost like a little like a lemon head that with some like dirty, like kind of darker musks that are given that sexy quality. I think dark musks are so sexy. But I mean, it's good. Almost a little bit of a like maybe a labdanum vibe.
I will say somebody did message me and they got like 5 of the notes correct, which pretty much blew my mind. I was like, wow, you got a good nose. Yeah, they actually, like, to a T. A lot of people can't figure out the top note. Like everybody who's done a review has said there's citrus, but I mean, citrus is everything. So I'm waiting for somebody to actually like nail the top note. Eventually, I probably will disclose what's in them, but I want to give people time. So they are available in a sample now. They were only in the 10 ml, but then I wanted to make it, because I got reached out to by quite a few people in the shop just asking me, hey, is there any way that you can add it to the sample packs? Because I don't want to buy a bottle, but I want to partake in the conversation. It's like, well, I wasn't going to do it and just have it 10 ml, but I decided to do samples.
I'm not trying to ruin this even more, but I'm almost getting, and I also love the smell of this smell. I hate working with it, but asphalt, like hot asphalt, like but if you've ever.
That's cool, actually.
No, I love the smell of hot asphalt. Hate working with it, but it's almost, So, I mean, it's top note. I'd have to spray it again. It's man, I don't know. Let me see. I'm just gonna go.
Yeah, your nose is gonna grow tired rather quickly smelling it like that. So yeah, when you come back later to it and smell it after it's dried down for a while, I'd be curious what you pick up on.
Okay, let's try Eastern Sea Moss.
So yeah, this isn't even released yet. So I actually made this fragrance like 2 years ago. So I always loved aquatic scents. So this one's a beast. Like, it's pretty strong, and I always loved aquatics.
Ooh,
yeah. So
freaking good.
Yeah. And you know what's funny? It's an abundance of materials. Like, this formula is a bit chaotic, but it all came together like so cohesively. Honestly, it surprised me 2 years ago when I did it. So I was never going to release this. I did. One of my wife's coworkers, he came by for like a dinner thing one night, and he was like, "Oh, let me check out your lab and everything." And he was looking at everything. He's like, "This is crazy," because most people, when they see a fragrance lab, they're like, "Wow, you don't even know where to begin." But he was asking about fragrances, and he's like, "Oh, I love Hugo Boss and things like that." He wound up smelling Eastern Sea Moss, and he was like, "Oh, dude, this is it. This is it." I was like, so I ended up giving him a bottle of it. And then, what's that?
So I'm going to throw you in the solo layout.
Okay. And
there you go.
So it was pretty much on a back burner for years, because I originally made it in 2019. It just pretty much sat with my formulas. I had like a small batch of it made up. I made a little bit more of it. Then Sarah at Glam Finds, she randomly messaged me a couple weeks back, or maybe like a month or two ago, and she's like, "Hey, Mike, have you ever thought about doing an aquatic? Not a lot of indie brands do aquatics." I was like, "Oh, funny you should ask. I actually do have one, but I haven't worked on it. I haven't really like fine-tuned it or anything like that." And I sent her a bottle of it. Well, she bought a bottle through the shop of something else. I replaced it with the Eastern Sea Moss, and then she bought a 10 milliliter bottle, something else, replace it, whatever. And then she tried it, because I was curious, because not a lot of people have smelled it. So I was actually a little bit worried. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's a strong scent. And she loved it, because she said she was looking for like a unique aquatic that was stronger, because that was the idea behind the scent. Was aquatics never last on me. They just don't. They're gone in like seconds. So the idea was to create something that would actually last and be strong, and that's where this one came from.
So tell us about what notes are you using in Eastern Sea Moss, since I can actually talk to you about that instead of cocktail. So talk to me about it. And what was the inspiration behind it?
All right. So Eastern Sea Moss literally was the whole idea behind Eastern Sea Moss, and honestly, I'm going back to like 2019, so bear with me with the memory. I wanted to create like an aquatic fragrance, but I wanted it to be mossy at the same time. So I was watching something, and I saw like the moss on the ocean, and I was like, "Oh, that's a perfect scent." And then I looked on Fragrancex. I was like, "Did anybody ever name a fragrance sea moss?" And then I came up with like Eastern Sea Moss. I'm like, "That's a perfect name." And then so I had the name first, Eastern Sea Moss. I knew it had to be aquatic. I knew it had to be salty. I knew it had to be mossy. And then I was like, well, so it all began there, was the concept. And I wanted it to be refreshing like the whole time. I didn't want it to change over time and become like leathery or anything, because a lot of aquatics, especially for like niche perfumery, it goes away from the aquatic, because after a while it dries down to either like leather or, you know what I mean, something different than what I wanted, like a beast mode aquatic scent. That was the idea. Like, I wanted it to stay fresh, citrusy, refreshing. So then like the sage came in, because sage is this note that just smacks the senses.
Oh, and totally.
When you mix it with lemon, it's like this insanely refreshing note. So I wanted to do that. And then with the moss note, so there is actually oak moss in there. And then there's cedarwood, there's ambergris. And then that mineral accord, it worked out beautifully. That's honestly, and I'm not even BSing you, that's literally, I think, like the 4th or 5th trial for that one. I had this perfect vision when I was making it, and I just started running with it. I did have to reformulate it, because the very first one I made had stuff that's now banned. So I never really worry. I mean, I do and I don't about the IFRA, but if I ever do want to try to sell in Europe, you have to, like the European Union, you have to abide by EU laws when it comes to cosmetics. So like Liliol is out. Oak moss is technically out. I mean, there's so many things. Like if you want to sell,
are you using like natural oak moss in this?
Yeah.
Are you actually using natural ambergris, or are you creating your own?
No, the ambergris is an ambergris accord, and then there is Ambrox DL in it. So ambergris, due to its price, there's no way to get like the same exact effect that you try to get. Ambergris is amazing, but it's usually when you buy it, you either have to buy it solid and then put it into ethanol. Yeah, exactly. Or if you buy already a dilution of it at 3%, I mean, even that for a bottle of it's so expensive and it's beautiful, but for you to get the same effect that you want to get, it's probably not going to happen.
No.
Let alone without raising my prices. Well, yeah, I could do it and raise my prices more, but
yeah, no, I totally get it. I'm totally enjoying this. Sorry, I totally left you hanging, man. You know, I was gonna break down the notes like before you said anything, but I had to go pee, so I was like, I'm gonna just and I ran to the bathroom. Anyway, but that's how you moderate a stream without people knowing. But I just called myself out. Damn it. What up, Mikey from I Smell? If you have not met Mikey from I Smell, Mike or Michael, you should go check out I Smell. Super cool guy, dude. Great channel.
Yeah, I saw you did a live with him. Was that last Friday?
Last Saturday.
Last Saturday, yeah.
I think, yeah. Maybe it was a couple. No, maybe
it was last week. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, cool.
At least I feel like it was.
Channel 69 Reformulated is in the house. Who else we got in here? I think Joe's about to head out. He's heading back to the house. I got to head out, but I'll check this house out. Have a great weekend, Joe. Always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Man, okay, so what I get from this is definitely the oak moss, but the oak moss is almost, it's not as oak mossy as okay, like the oak moss, I feel like it's almost a little bit more on the grassy side. Yeah. It's almost like fresh cut grass. I definitely get the ambergris. It's got a nice salinity to it, but adding that aquatic feel. But I really am enjoying, I mean, this is the first time I've sprayed this. I'm going to spray just a little bit more. Why? Because I like it.
So your nose, so the thing with this fragrance, and you'll realize it, you're going to get nose blind to it. Like, it's so strong. And then all of a sudden, even after you take a shower the next day, all of a sudden you'll come back and you'll be like, you'll catch whiffs of it randomly.
There's a really nice balance of salty, sweet, and green in this.
There is actually, they're not listed on the notes, but there are green notes in there, like green materials that help to kind of boost because obviously I'm not trying to make an oak moss. It's not supposed to be a foresty scent. It's supposed to be sea moss. So it's not just oak moss. Now, mind you, I'm using like a safety oak moss that has all the stuff that's regulated, like the atronol and things like that. That's kind of blocked by the IFRA and everything like that. So I'm using that kind. It smells very similar to the original oak moss, mind you. You can't really, to the naked nose, so to say, you can't really tell the difference, honestly. But
are you using any rose in this?
There is rose. Yeah. There's actually Moroccan Rose Absolute in it.
Yeah, because the rose, I like it because it's like that just perfect touch. It's like if it reminds me of in Jurassic Park where John Hammond is standing in front of like everybody and doing his first presentation of like Jurassic Park. He goes, oh, and he takes a little pinprick of his blood. It's just a little pinprick of rose. Yeah. It's just perfect amount of rose, and it's just a very nice earthy balance.
No, I appreciate that. No, then there's geranium also, which so the geranium kind of meets the lemon and the citrusy notes in the top and the C notes with the rose in the heart. Because geranium's got that really lemony, fresh rose, if you will. It's not really rosy, but it has a lot of the same molecules that rose has.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really nice, man. I'm definitely gonna have to pick up a bottle of
And
mustard sea moss.
So to be honest, the reason I never released that, so there are, and I said this to Sarah too. She disagreed with me. She says, "I think you're full of." And she's like, "I truly think that this is unique," because the reason I never released it is because I thought it smelled kind of like other aquatics, but it doesn't smell like any aquatic at the same time. Like it reminds you of light blue, for instance. It reminds you of aqua de jo. It reminds you of those, but very at the same time different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's completely different. Like, definitely, I get the sage as well in this, which is also going to be more along like that, you know, that aqua de jo, Dolce and Gabbana kind of. But it's not, man. I mean, honestly, I just did it.
I didn't release it.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I think
I thought it was going to be like too designer, if you will. So I wanted to do, but then at the same time, like once she smelled it and she's like, "This doesn't smell designer at all," I'm like, all right, so I made a bigger batch of it. I'm like, all right, well, we're going to run with it then.
No, I wouldn't say this smells designer whatsoever. I mean, it's unique, but also similar. I mean, that's the thing. Like,
yeah,
how unique can you get without just like pissing people's olfactory senses off, you know?
Exactly.
Like, we're going to relate something to something else no matter what.
No, honestly, like Forsaken Peony, for instance, like I've been seeing like a lot of posts lately about like perfumers. So perfumers have always looked to older perfumes to either learn or to try to create something new. So like Shalimar, that was the basis of opium. That was the basis of so many perfumes after.
Every sheeper out there.
So basically. You look at Aventus. I mean, obviously there are other perfumes that smell like Aventus. You look at Green Irish Tweed. When Cool Water came out, that was a blatant copy of, well, mind you, it was the same perfumer, but nonetheless, it was the same. So there's always perfumers kind of working off of older works. And then there are perfumers that are told by a client, I want a perfume that smells identical to this scent, but a little different. And then they work off of a gas chromatography or a GCMS, and they just tweak things here and there.
Yeah.
But there are only so many materials in perfume. Mind you, you can build a billion and one and infinite accords, I suppose, using the same materials that are in each perfume. But odds are, think about all the perfumes that are made. I think it's inevitable, no matter what's, just like you making a cocktail, right? It's inevitable that you are making food. You're going to make something that smells or tastes just like somebody else's drink, perfume, food. There's nothing you can do. There are only, like if you use dihydromercenol in a perfume and you mix it with L-amyl glycolate, you're going to get the smell of Cool Water. It's just, that's what you're going to get. Because that's the top note of Cool Water, is a boatload of dihydromercenol with that galbanum metallic, like you just opened a fresh can of pineapple, and like that metallic smell is what L-amyl glycolate smells like.
Oh, you know, I never even thought about that, but yeah.
You know that metallic smell you get in Cool Water and you get in Green Irish Tweed? That is L-amyl glycolate. And it's also used in the base Galbex 183, which is like a galbanum base. So you can use galbanum or you can use reconstructions, right? So like there's different bases, right? So there's fragrance oils, there's bases, there's all these different things. Fragrance oils, just don't use them. All right? They're bad. They're not good. They're heavily synthetic. And that's the thing. That's what's become really big. And as a perfumer, and I've talked about this with other independent perfumers, there's a lot of things you can smell and you will pick up on whether or not it is real or it is like a fragrance oil. A fragrance oil has this weird kind of synthetic sweetness to it. Plus it's always diluted in some like benzoate or diethyl phthalate. And like people who claim there's no phthalates in their perfume, if you use a fragrance oil, chances are you probably have a phalate in your perfume because that's one of the big dilutions, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, no.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of, I would swear, but there's a lot of crap out there.
You can say shit. It's okay. I don't care.
Well, no, I was going to say effery, but.
Oh, there's a lot of tomfoolery. That's where you go. Tomfoolery. Okay, so I'm going to catch up on some comments. Supply and demand. What's up, brother? Looking at the site, Oak Cobbler looks interesting.
Yeah, there's only 2 bottles left. That one is honestly, I was hoping it would be gone by now, to be honest with you. Like the first time I made it, it sold out in the first night. And I think because there wasn't a lot of hype, but it just kind of built up right away. Sold out in literally 2 hours. But this new batch, there's 2 bottles left. Literally, that's all that's left. And I probably won't make it again until next holiday season, like December or January. So it's not like it's going to be gone forever because a lot of people love it. They're like, it's one of the best gourmands I've ever smelled. So it'll probably
it's a really good go. That's an awesome gourmand. The Spritz with Pop Fritz in the house. What's up, buddy? It's always a pleasure to have you in the comments, my friend. Oh yeah, everybody knows that. LOL. Yeah. Okay. But yeah,
the comments over here. So
no, yeah, you're fine, man. It sucks that Maxx sucks. Can you see him when I pop them up on the screen like this?
No,
do they pop up?
No,
seriously?
Yeah, nothing.
Oh, it's probably because you have to turn your phone sideways, but whatever, it's okay.
Don't worry about it. It's all right.
I will read them out to you. I will read them out to you. So, what do you have? What else do you have coming up?
I haven't dropped the name yet, but I'm working on this gardenia scent. So that one is another one I also made. So
Can I ask you real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Does Folktale have gardenia in it?
No, I mean, so gardenia, and the funny thing is like, could it? For people, sure, because there's floral notes in it.
Okay.
Gardenia, right? So gardenia is usually a fantasy accord. You can use gardenia absolute, but it doesn't smell like the gardenia flower. It just doesn't. So you have to try to recreate using an accord the smell of a gardenia flower.
Right.
So you use different materials. So that's what I mean. That's the whole idea behind Folktale. Like, could gardenia be in there for somebody? Of course. Could rose be in there? Because, you know what I mean? There could be anything in there for anybody. And that's what I wanted people to do, is kind of see if their notes correlate with somebody else or if they completely contrast with somebody else's.
It is a very interesting smell, I have to say.
Right? It is very interesting. And that's why I was like, all right, that's the fragrance for it, because it's hard to decipher. It's a strange smell.
Yeah. I mean,
it smells good though.
It does. It smells good, but it's just like it's like triggering something in my brain. It's kind of like I'm misfiring. Like I've got a couple spark plugs that aren't firing right, because I'm like, wait a second. Like, does this smell like White Rain hairspray? Wait, does this smell a little rubbery? Maybe. It's just like everything's kind of just all right.
No, I get it completely, because even when I smell it, so obviously I made it. So when I smell it, it's like I know what's in there. So what I try to do is like trick my brain to some extent to be like, I don't know what this is. You know what I mean? Obviously I know what the hell it is, but I don't at the same time, because I try to erase the memory of it as best I can and try to smell it from somebody's point of view, like you, right? So like you're smelling mothballs, you're smelling rubber. Like, I get it, man. Like
I almost also get like motor oil, like almost like a monkey, like a, oh god, I can't say, I can't
like
say
a monkey,
like a grease monkey, like, and I'm not saying that in a racist way. I don't want people to think that.
I know what you're
okay. Yeah, if you work in the automotive industry. Yeah, I mean, it almost does. It actually kind of reminds me of like this back when I used to skateboard back in the day, that the grease I would put on my bearings for anyways. It's got a lot of things going on in it, man. It's definitely a smorgasbord of interesting things, ingredients going on.
Yeah, I'm excited. I sniff before I sleep on Instagram. She's doing on her blog online, she's gonna do like a whole story about it, because I told her how I've always been into creative writing. Like, I was always, there's still like overheads, not that they use overheads anymore, but there's still like overheads floating around of my stories I used to write in high school and in my 1 year at university. And then I did freshman year at college.
So wait, you're in Wisconsin, right?
Yeah. I went to UW Milwaukee for 1 year.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's what I thought. I can kind of hear it in your voice a little bit, which is one of my good
every
buddies.
once in a while I get that Canadian accent. Every once in a while.
Hey, don't you know? I look at it more like Bobby's World. Hey, Bobby.
Yeah, I used to love Bobby's World.
I mean, yeah, dude, it was a great TV show.
Yeah, that's Harvey, or not Harvey. What's his name? Who's the dude from AGT?
God, what is
Not
his
Simon
name?
Cowell. What the hell's his name? Howie Mandel.
Howie Mandel. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what were we talking about?
What you have coming up?
Oh yeah, so the Gardenia fragrance. So I haven't dropped the name yet. The name's awesome, man. I've always loved the name. I came up with this name for it a while ago. I haven't dropped it yet because I want to have like everything done. Because personally, I think it's such a clever name, and I'm surprised nobody's ever done it yet. So it's honestly, I didn't realize it. So I made it like roughly last summer, a little bit before last summer, and it's gardenia, but it's got coconut. It's got all these different notes in it, and then it's got the probably the most expensive musks that I have in my collection, and a decent amount of them too. Like it's because I made the formula a year or two ago. I never really went back to it. My wife has always told me, she's like, oh, you need to release it. You need to release it. I always found it, obviously, most guys are not going to think gardenia works for them. I mean, unisex is unisex, in my opinion. If you want to smell creamy and you want to smell good, it is what it is. A lot of guys are like, I'm not going to wear a flowery fragrance. And it's so I never released it. She loves it. She wears it now. Now that I made it again, I made her like a 10 ml bottle of it. And every other perfume that she wears of mine is now just gone on the back burner. And now all she wears is it. And everybody's complimenting her on her. And yeah, so it's a hell of a good dry down, dude. Like, honestly, I have a scent strip that I sprayed on Monday, and it smells next level, man. It's honestly one of the best accords I've probably made to date.
So you're just going to leave us hanging and not tell us the name. I see how it is.
The name, honestly, personally, I'm surprised nobody's done it. So I just worry that because I never trademark my names. And
don't worry about that, dude.
Yeah. And honestly, I'd steal it in a heartbeat if I was another company because it's a clever name. Some people might not think it's clever. I personally think it's.
How about this, man? How about this? I'll tell you. So I came up with a name so I used to homebrew beer for 11 years. I homebrewed with my best friend, and he actually went off and became a brewer. Now he's a produce sales rep. He's not even brewing anymore. Anyways, but so we came up with a Pilsner. A really awesome, classic style Pilsner, very crisp. It's so good. I mean, it's so freaking good. And we couldn't come up with a name with it. And this is back when I was married. We were living in Texas, and I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
And I literally am dreaming about like what I should name my, this beer. And I literally wake up in the middle of the night and I wake my wife up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. I wake her up. I'm like, babe, I got it. She goes, what? You have what? I'm like, I have the name for the beer. She goes, oh yeah, what are you gonna name it? I was like, the morning after pills.
Yeah.
It was perfect. And now there's a brewery out there that actually is doing it. Not that our beer, but that's the.
I'm very surprised that you would ever name a beer the morning after pill.
No, pills. The morning after pills.
I got you.
And then we were gonna do the imperial version and call it Plan B.
Nice.
But
and
I mean, come on.
Doing it now, right?
Yeah. Well, somebody's doing morning after pills. It's some brewery. I think it's in like Rhode Island or New Hampshire or somewhere.
There's so many microbreweries now.
Oh, tons.
Yeah,
tons.
You can't even grasp it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but hopefully we'll hear the name one of these days.
I'll drop the name.
You will.
Released soon anyway.
It's not like anybody's gonna watch this shit. I mean,
I guess that's true. So the name is Gardenia Colada. The fact that it's never been used yet, because I wanted to make a Gardenia and a Pina Colada scent. Nobody's ever done Gardenia Colada. So yes, is it tacky? Sure. Is it? But it's clever, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's ever done it.
I like that.
I think it's a clever
I do like that.
name. Gardenia Colada. And I didn't do the wave over the N or anything. It's just because you're already rolling your N on it because it's Gardenia. So
I like that. I like Gardenia it. No, that's good.
So you can get an idea of what it's going to smell like, obviously. It's going to be this amazing Gardenia accord I made, and then coconut, pineapple, and everything in between. It turned out... It's really, and the emphasis is on that creamy musk accord, which enhances and it boosts the gardenia, the coconut, and the dry down is like, dude, I'm actually still surprised by it, to be honest with you. Like, it's one of my best accords I've created to date.
I know Autumn's back there, like, drooling over it because
Sign me up.
well, yeah, well, I don't know if she ever picked up a bottle, but a Scent Journey does the cocktails and catamarans, and that, I mean, it smells like
I've never smelled that. I did see you do a video, I think, on it.
Yeah. I mean, it smells like a pina colada. It's aldehydes and it's like pineapple, coconut, lime, melon, like everything that you would think that would go into like an actual pina colada. And I think it's really funny because, there's a lot of fragrance houses out there, and I'm not going to name any of them, but when they're doing a lot of these boozy fragrances, they're like, oh, this smells like pina colada. It smells like the crappiest pina colada mix that you could go to the store and buy. It's just like you go and buy the Kuiper pina colada mix.
Yeah. It's because it's synthetic. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Even like, here's the thing. Like, I understand the reason I'm sensitive to synthetic smells has a lot to do with when I was doing whiskeys and spirits, because they don't, you can tell the difference when something is actually naturally infused with ingredients to make it taste the way that it does, or smell and taste the way that it does, compared to like lots of your flavored whiskey, like Jack Daniel's honey bullshit. They're putting like 40 tons of honey in it. They're not.
No,
they're not. They're just telling you that. What they did is they probably took all that tonnage of honey and created a synthetic way of creating of something that goes into it. And they usually use glycerin instead of, so they'll use a glycerin base. And then basically it's the same thing as like what, drug dealers do. They cut it down. So you still, and you still have just a little bit of that flavor, and that's all you need. But it heightens it. The glycerin will heighten that flavor profile. Now, I worked for a vodka company called Last and Lyons Vodka, and they're based out here in Chattanooga, and they did all cold infusions. And so they were in the like skincare game like forever, and they opened up a vodka brand. And I mean, like, they use the most expensive vanilla, Madagascar vanillas and hibiscus and all this stuff, but they're actually, I mean, you could go to the distillery or watch them, infuse the vodka, and they're using those ingredients. I have never been to a distillery that does that.
Yeah, I believe it.
They don't.
It's too expensive, man. And the truth of the matter is, it's all about profit margins.
Fireball whiskey is illegal in 5 countries.
That puts hair on your chest too, man.
Well, it's because it's like there's a synthetic molecule, or a synthetic that they use in it, that they use in batteries to create batteries.
Interesting. I figured they just loaded it up with cinnamaldehyde, which is the smell of cinnamon.
No, if anything, they are actually using cinnamon. But the thing is, have you ever noticed how thick it is compared to actual whiskey? So back in the day, it used to be called Dr. McGillicuddy's cinnamon schnapps.
Yikes!
And then it got bought up. Got bought by Buffalo Trace, and they started adding trace amounts of whiskey or bourbon into it, which is trace amounts, I like to say. And then they rebranded it to Fireball. And one guy worked for this company and went around the entire world and sold the crap out of it, and then now it's what it is. So
Fireball's big in the Midwest in the winter.
Fireball's big everywhere in the United States. It's like, who doesn't want to, like, you get a cute Fireball girl come up to you, want to take a free shot? Sure.
Goldschlager, I think, is a better cinnamon flavor in my opinion. Obviously,
Goldschlager. Oh my god.
No, let's see. Anything better, but it tastes better.
Let's see here. Just wore St. Bart's with Oasis, Bath and Body Works, coconut lavender palm. I think it might be sort of like pina colada. Not sure if.
Well, see that. So in Gardenia Colada, you're not going to be like, oh, I smell like coconut and pineapple, and so there is actually rum absolute in it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so there is real rum absolute in it, and not a lot. So it's not like you get this blast of rum, but you will pick it up in the dry down, and you pick it up in the heart. A little bit in the top, because I use this other molecule called rum ether, which is like brutal, sharp rum. Well, not brutal and sharp. I mean, it's smooth because it's rum, but it's very heavy, but it literally disappears in like a couple minutes on paper. So you get more in the top note, and then it's gone. So then I use rum absolute to kind of extend that down into the heart. And then the pineapple is very minute because I did not want fruity pineapple because it doesn't really work very well with gardenia. It does, but it not to the extent that you would want it to.
So you want more of like a raw, more of that.
It's like it's creamy. So it's creamy. You get some citrus in the top.
You don't have to.
You get a little bit of juiciness, but it's mostly about the creaminess of like the petal of gardenia with coconut, and then pretty much like one of the most sensual musk dry downs that like on skin, man. Honestly, it's hard to, once people smell it, I think they'll be like, wow, like it's the way it dries down is pretty amazing.
Tony is asking, why is gin rum whiskey brandy called spirits? Because it lifts your spirits. That's actually why they're.
Is that really why it's called spirits? Interesting. I always assumed because of the way it's made. So because it is evaporated before it comes back down, I figured just like a ghost, it's a spirit, you know? So that was my.
Well, I mean, now, because all that is, so that's what they call angel. That's what they call angel share.
Okay.
So you either have angel share or devil's cut. So angel share is
angel share before.
So angel, so yeah, angel share, but angel share is also in the vodka. Every single anything. Well, let me not say it's not vodka, but anything that goes into a barrel and it's aged, they consider angel share, which is going to be the evaporation of anything that's leaving the barrel. Because even though nothing seeps out of a barrel, it's still there's still evaporation that's going to happen. Now, devil's cut. So what devil's cut is when the spirit soaks into the wood.
Okay.
So your whiskey, what they do is they extract the juice out of the wood and use that as basically a base for like Jim Beam's devil's cut. So what they're doing is extracting the juice straight out of the wood.
Crazy.
Yeah. So nothing left behind. But yeah, spirits all started with basically it lifts your spirits or it can dampen your spirits.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny. I was talking to somebody the other day and they kept calling it hard liquors. They're like, what kind of hard liquor should I like? What kind of hard liquor should I get? I was like, it's all just liquor. There's no difference between hard liquor. I was like, what's soft liquor?
Beer. So
no, because it's not liquor. It's not liquor.
That's in people's heads. So hard
liquor I know.
Is not beer. Beer is its own realm. And then like if you drink, like people, you know how many people tell me like, yeah, I'm not going to drink. I'm going to quit drinking. But they still drink beer because beer is not drinking to people. Beer is like, I'm having water. You know what I mean? For a lot of people, honestly.
I got to give it to Pop as well. He says, or make you feel like a god. Yeah, that's true
fair
as well.
That's fair.
Liquor, don't even know her. Way to go, Pete. That's hilarious. But yeah. And it's, I mean, I could go off on booze. I could probably, I'm looking forward to it. So I'm moving. So, to let you know a little bit of what's going on. I'm moving back. I'm moving out of my parents' house. I'm not taking care of them anymore. I'm going to be paying somebody to be taking care of them for me when I'm not there. Yeah. I can't, to maintain my sanity, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah. So, I'm moving back. I'm moving to Chattanooga at the end of August. Cause right now I'm living about 15 minutes outside of Chattanooga. But yeah, I'm moving up here. I get my own spot. I got a location. I got an apartment picked out already. And then, as soon as I get back from all my vacays, I'm going to be doing that, getting working at a hotel bar, the Westin Bar here in Chattanooga. And then 33 hours a week is full time. So I get benefits and all that stuff because I need to get my back worked on. I mean, honestly.
Was that after the car accident, right?
Oh, yeah, man. My back is.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how you're hanging in after that.
When we got into the, so I don't know if you saw my video. Michael probably doesn't even watch my videos. I'm just kidding. So I went and saw.
I actually do.
So I went whitewater rafting this last Sunday, and so
I saw that actually on Autumn's page. So.
Yeah. So the reason that I'm on the left side of the boat is because Mariah, her daughter, who was our raft guide, put me on the right side of the boat. in the very front.
Okay.
And they asked you like beforehand. They're like, if you guys have any pre-existing medical, conditions, or if you having,
Get off.
but I'm like, I don't.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't. So I get on the right side of the boat, and I'm like, because you gotta like, if you've ever been whitewater rafting, you don't just like, you're not like this.
No,
you gotta
you're
like,
getting it all in there. Yeah.
You gotta dig.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting on the right side of the boat, and we're just in this like calm water, and she's like, all right, forward 2. And I'm like,
go.
Yeah, no, straight up she was like, Brian, what's going on? I was like, you're gonna have to put me on the other side of the boat. I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I have no rotation on this right side. I got on the left side, I was fine, but man.
So what is it, a muscle or is it your vertebrae?
It's my vertebrae and some muscles as well. I got a curvature in the top of my spine, so it's pre-existing. It's just the accident didn't help at all.
So what, did you get rear-ended, right? Or did you get T-boned?
No, unfortunately, I don't remember a whole lot of the accident. I hit somebody else.
That's nice.
Sort of. I mean, I guess I don't. The big thing is yeah, I don't really remember what all happened, but yeah, the other car flipped 2 times.
Oh damn, man!
I got slammed into the median and slid.
Oh, you were on the freeway.
Yeah, I was on the interstate.
Yikes!
Yeah, it sucked, but I mean, yeah. So I'm glad to be alive.
Yeah,
that's the most important part. Everybody is alive in the other vehicle as well.
Yeah, so that would have been rough.
Yeah, it would have been rough, but yeah, man. I mean, sucks. But yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Shit happens, dude. I'm all good to go, and yeah. So just making some moves. I've just gotta, my mental health is like I think something that I didn't really think would be as much in jeopardy living with my parents for so long, but it's really just been.
How long were you with them?
I've been there now for 15 months.
Oh, so it's been a little over a year. So
yeah,
it is. It's funny. It's tough because like as an adult, we're different in America. So like we have this weird preconception that you're 18. Well, I'll say 18 to 21. You need to get out of your parents' house and you need to be out on your own. You go to like Italy, Spain. A lot of them, they never leave home. Like they keep their family together. And you just live in the same house or at least in the same general vicinity at minimum. And here in America, it's like you have kids that they just go to the other side of the country. And there needs to be a balance. So here's the thing, like living with your parents, like I get that. Like I think I'd probably butt heads with my dad so much. There's no way. So I get what you're saying, like your mental health. But at the same time, I think if I was on the other side of the country, there is something you're missing when you don't see your family.
Oh yeah,
you know
yeah.
I mean? And I'm not saying that that's where you're at, not at all.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Honestly, like my mom is so butthurt.
Yeah,
she is like guilt tripping the crap out of me right now, and I'm like, listen, like before I moved in here, we were way better off. Like you have to understand that. Like I was happy to come see you. Now I am stuck seeing you. Like I think it's a little bit of the difference. And honestly, I did not have a great relationship with my parents, until like, a few years ago. And so, I'm working on that. And then I don't want to sink back into, like I told them, I was like, I don't want to hate you before you die. I want to continue like what we had. Because they're a little insufferable and very, very super religious. They're just old school religious, like stuck in their way. Anyways. Enough about my parents.
Most parents are stuck. Oh yeah. I mean.
Oh yeah, big time. My dad's about to be, 83. My mom's 77.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean they're up there. I mean, my dad just had his carpal tunnel surgery, and now he's got to get carpal tunnel on his other hand.
So wait, you said your dad's 83? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh wow. So they had you when they were like in their mid 40s, eh? Late 40s.
They bought me. I was adopted. Oh, okay. I was like, they bought me. Yeah. No,
okay.
I was.
Right,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was adopted a week old. So
nice.
I walked into somewhere the other day and they were like, "Oh my God, you look just like your mom." I'm like, "No, I don't."
Maybe you do.
Because no, I don't.
That's
no,
just
trust
like
me,
those
I
women
don't.
that have the dogs and they end
Nope.
up like it's the same thing.
Okay, hang on. Let me ask one person who'll know. Autumn, answer in the comments. Do I look anything like my mother or father? We'll see here in just a second. No, she's gonna say F no, probably. But yeah, man. So I mean, yeah, no, it's great. I mean, they are my mom and dad. You know, I did my I did the whole like ancestry DNA thing a few years ago, and like I met my real brother. I met my real sister who used to be my brother. She's her name's
trans.
Yeah. She's had the full thing, and so her name's Aubrey. And then my brother Billy lives in Milan, Tennessee, which is about 5 hours down the street. From me. About 5 hours, yeah. But man, I mean, we don't really talk much. We kind of had you can just tell the difference, like how I was raised versus how they were raised.
So they obviously, I mean, if you come from a religious family, obviously it's a completely different thing, yeah.
They went through the whole foster care system as where I was just adopted. So they've like my brother fell very weird. Our apples fell extremely far apart from each other. We're completely different people. But I mean, cool guy. I've got 4 nieces and a nephew, which is kind of cool. You know,
I think that's what's so cool about it. Like we're all just like this hodgepodge. Like my brothers, I have 2 other brothers, and we all have different dads. So they never knew their dad. My oldest brother still doesn't know who his real dad was. The middle brother, he ended up finding his real dad out in North Carolina, and they like reconnected. He went out there and visited him, and I mean, the thing is, it's like I think your family's your family. It doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love them to death.
Yeah.
I've got to do me, man. You know, I've got to look out for what's It also has really affected like me getting stuff out on YouTube. That's what kind of reason that I started this series is so I can get out of the house and.
Yeah, I actually watched that video. I think you posted it today or yesterday when you went down to that Mother of Meats, or what was it called?
Main Street
Meats. Yeah.
Best.
Yeah, dude, that food looked good. So I think, and honestly, your editing, man, has gotten so on point, brother. Like you're kicking ass, dude. Yeah.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I'm putting a lot more work into it, but I love it. I'd rather put out like even today. I put out talking about indie fragrance house, Pinewood perfumes.
Yeah, he's
freaking awesome,
Colorado, isn't he?
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what, dude. His stuff is stellar.
Yeah, I saw when he came out, and he had like they looked like kind of cool bottles. I don't even know if they were spray bottles or what they were, but yeah, he just focuses solely on pine, right? Like that's obviously
on pine and camphorous. He does pine and camphorous like woods. Woods is his big thing.
Yeah.
So
man, that's honestly a hole in the market and like a lot of people say, I saw his reviews and they're like, oh, you smell like Christmas, and I think that's where. Some people are like, I don't want to smell like a Christmas tree. And other people are like, oh, I love it,
Yeah. And today, and again, it's like, I put a bunch of work into that video, whether or not a lot of people watch it.
I was going to ask you.
Still gratifying.
Yeah, it is gratifying. I was going to ask you how much time. So to do that video, you went down to Main Street. How long does that take to edit? I've never asked a video editor how long does that actually take? That
took me literally 2 days because I went down the day before, and I didn't say this in my video, but I went down the day before. I filmed that video, and I was using my GoPro the entire time, and so I have an external microphone on my GoPro, and apparently the cord that I have going from my mic to my GoPro had a short in it, so I lost all days worth of footage. I lost, so I had to go back and redo it the next day.
Ouch.
So I went down back again and redid it. So man, the whole editing process probably took me about
I'm always curious about
4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, so you must got to get a hang of it, because I like, even when I'm working on, because I do all my own photos, I do so I'm like just a one man. All the labeling I do myself, everything's myself, so it takes so much time.
And it does.
Like editing, so I don't use like all my photos I post on Instagram. None of that. I talked to Richard, and he was like, oh, you got to use what is it? What's the big one? The photo editing software from Adobe.
Adobe. I don't use Adobe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I don't use Photoshop. I started using Canva because it kind of helps to use that to do things. But editing, man, like every time I'm working on it, it's tough because I'm balancing like working on perfume and like trying to make good sense, and then at the same time marketing, and at the same time trying to like run a business. So it's tough. I mean, there's so much stuff you have to juggle when it comes to editing. Like you said, like 4 to 5 hours. It's like that's a devotion of time when you're trying to juggle everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, certain videos. I mean, sometimes it depends on it depends on the video. Like
sure.
Sometimes it takes me an hour. Honestly, like today's video, it probably took me like 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah,
but was not too much.
Well, see that video. That's why I wanted to ask you when we were talking about it, because that video was clean, man. It was a great video, buddy.
Appreciate you, dude.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
It looked really good.
Autumn says, "No, you look or act nothing like your parents." Damn right. Keep it up. Be on my good side.
Yeah.
Dang, Boogie Daddy is a little late. It's all right, man.
I do want to. Before we end up ending, we never covered. I'm curious what you think of Ood Cafe and Epic's. Because
first of all, Epis Fern, I love this. This is now in my top 3. My first favorite is Blackwood Sun, then it's Wasteland Warrior, and now it's Epis Fern. Nice. I love the minty anise opening in this.
It's a whole different hideout, though, right?
Yeah. But you get totally different. It's a very it starts out like a white vehicle, and then it turns into like a bright neon green vehicle, which is really cool. Like I really
like that analogy. That works.
Yeah, because it's like you get that. I love the mint. I love the anise. It's got that licoricey quality, which I love. Black licorice. I love the moss in this. The fougere aspects. Are you using a coumarin in this? I guess I could.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. I guess I can definitely probably look it up on. Well, I guess you don't have to use that on.
Well, yeah, there's tonka bean in it. Yeah,
tonka bean. Okay, cool. Yeah. No, I think it's great. It's got a nice sweetness to it, but it's not overly sweet. It's green. It's fresh. It's really good. And now Ood Cafe. It's stupid smooth.
Like after I made it, I really because it was a challenge to balance those notes, because when I smell mint, I am immediately I think of mint, like gum. I think of toothpaste. So there's ways to use it where it's just a cooling aspect, right? So I wanted there to be a note of mint, but mostly the cooling aspect of it. And then the star anise, I tried to do it in a way where it wasn't too black licorice, like Lolita Lempica, right? I mean, that is like in your face black licorice. It has resins and it has woods, but it's black licorice.
Pop Fritz, thank you so much for the super chat. Sorry, it showed up super late. It literally just popped up. My computer's slower than molasses in January. Thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. So the Instagram account for the scent of it is in my description, so you can go down there, click the link, you can go right over to it. And also his Etsy account is also down there, so if you're curious about getting some samples, because you always test drive before you buy. Hopefully everything that we've said today kind of maybe helps you get a full bottle, but always do a sample, always sample before you buy it. And Michael always sends you samples. So, okay. Ood Cafe, I really like. The rose is what I like about it. It's not an oud rose, even though there's rose in it.
Yeah.
It's not a predominant player. And I'm kind of, and I'm going to say this, I'm kind of getting tired of oud rose fragrances.
There's a lot of them. Yeah. There's
tons of them. It's like oud and powdery rose.
Yeah.
Or oud and sweet rose. Or oud and just rose,
Yeah.
But this, I like the coffee aspect, because the coffee actually kind of reminds me of more of like coffee with a little bit of sugar and just a drop of cream in it.
Yeah, I get that.
It's got a little bit of I'm getting a bit of a sour quality, and I get that. I'm guessing that's coming from the oud. But it's not like
the walnut in the top.
Walnut.
That note is what makes it very different. Like you've probably never, like the opening. That's why I got so excited. So I used this material and I was working on this black walnut accord. And when I added it into this fragrance, into the top note, I was like, all right, I've never smelled anything like it personally.
Yeah, I see. I would not even thought of black walnut, but now that you're talking about it, I can get it. I get that kind of nutty quality,
Yeah,
but I
so it's like
thought
a
that was
nutty coffee.
I thought it was more of coming from like that like sweetened like Starbucks coffee,
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. Well, because there's coffee. So for the coffee note, there's espresso distillate, and then there's actually coffee CO2, and then the woody notes like the oak and everything like that. That's all going to enhance the coffee because there is a slight woodiness to coffee in and of itself. So all of that kind of pushes it, and then the black walnut with the bergamot and everything in the top note kind of pushes the coffee into its own direction. So you end up with like this nutty, like you're saying, almost like a nutty latte because of the oud. So I didn't use like a skunky oud. I used a very like smooth oud.
Here, keep talking about it. I'm going to use the restroom. Keep talking.
Yeah, you're good. And then in the dry down, it's all about vanilla, and that's where you probably get that latte note, where you end up like Starbucks almost.
So what are the notes that are in this, and what was your inspiration behind it?
All right. So the inspiration. So, well, the notes that are in it, you get espresso, black walnut, bergamot, and then you get white pepper CO2, which is it's similar to, no, it's actually very different. So it has a slightly animalic smell. It's not like black pepper. It's not like pink pepper. Pink pepper is very bright and vibrant. Black pepper is more woody. White pepper has like this slight animalic, very interesting profile. So that's in the top note with the black walnut accord. And then you get Rose in the Heart, which is actually Rose Absolute, Bulgarian Rose Absolute. And then you also get Oak, Oud, Iris, which gives it that smooth quality. And then in the base, you get this sweet vanilla and musk. There is a decent amount of musk in it that kind of gives it this kind of smooth quality to the oud and to the top notes. The inspiration for Ood Cafe was actually there's Dave at Call's Groom Room. He was talking to me about making a coffee fragrance, and I was thinking about making an oud fragrance for a long time. And then when he brought that up, I was like, well, I'm going to try to make a coffee-based oud fragrance. But I didn't want, like, there's not a lot of oud and coffee fragrances out there, so I'm thinking, all right, I want to try to make something, but I didn't want like skunky oud. I know everybody always loves, I'm looking for like a barnyard oud. Well, I just don't think that works with coffee. I don't want my coffee to smell like crap, if you will. So I wanted like and there's all sorts of different like oud accords you can do from Firmenich, which makes some of the best oud bases out there, which contain real oud, but they twist them in a way where they're each unique. And then there's real oud. So I did use a slight amount of oud CO2 in it, but that in and of itself also isn't very skunky or anything like that.
No, this isn't skunky at all. Yeah, no. I get more like a musky, and again, I still get a bit of like a sour quality coming, and it might not just be coming from the oud, which is fine because when I say sour, there's certain things you have to have enough sour to balance out sweet, and earthy, and like ethereal notes and ingredients in a fragrance, or in anything, honestly, food, whatever. There has to be a nice balance, but it's really nice, and I get your signature DNA in there as well. And the rose,
and everybody. So I think the sour note you're getting is actually probably the white pepper CO2. So that when you smell it, it's like pepper, but it's completely different. It has like this weird tang to it, almost like this animalic kind of souriness. So I think that's where you're getting that sour note. Is probably
it kind of is almost tannic. Like, you know, if you're taking this, you know, like a nice sip of wine, you get that tannic, like I like to call them the herky jerkies, where you're like, oh, I get that. I get that. But the rose in this also kind of gives me like a waxy sweet feel in a way, but I like it. I like this.
Yeah, there's actually a decent amount of Bulgarian Rose Absolute. There's actually 1% of the formula is just 100% pure Bulgarian Rose Absolute, which when you dive into perfumery, that's actually a good amount of Rose Absolute when you're smelling it. And if you're not trying to make like a rose fragrance, it's actually balanced pretty well in it because it's there, but it doesn't like, so the first few formulas I made didn't have that much rose in it. And then honestly, what ended up happening is I made a mistake, and I dropped too much in as I was using the pipette, and all of a sudden my scale caught up as I was dropping it in, as I'm listening to music, and like you concentrate, but at the same time I'm just like making something I've already made. So
a beautiful disaster. A beautiful disaster.
It ended up being like over 1% rose instead of the original formula I had about 0.75% rose. So there's a little bit more. So that's why you do get the rose in there, but it's quality. It smells
good. No, absolutely. And the thing that I do appreciate about, and also I'm gonna have to say this now that I've smelled it, I got another waffle. I almost get like a pruny, like a prune. Anyways, like a fruity prune, a little tart, sour. Anyways,
well, that's actually the labdanum. So there is labdanum resinoid in it, which isn't as fruity as labdanum absolute. Labdanum absolute actually is a little bit stronger. It has a little more of like a plum quality to it, but labdanum resinoid has a slight more dry, leathery quality to it. And that's why I use that instead of the absolute, because that way I think I wanted like that dryness, because I wanted it to be kind of just like dry coffee. That's why I use the espresso too. It's kind of almost like not freshly ground coffee. I didn't want that bitter black coffee you get in some coffee perfumes, where it's like almost like bitter on your skin. So I didn't want that. I wanted it to be as smooth as I could possibly get. And I think that's why with the tonka bean in the base and the vanilla, you end up getting that latte type of Starbucks.
No, I mean, this is definitely a gourmand in a way. I mean, not like you don't have to be a gourmand lover to enjoy this fragrance. Like you
interesting. I haven't classified it in my head. Like I wouldn't call it woody. I wouldn't call it gourmand. I wouldn't call it
well, I mean, I wouldn't. I don't know if you can. I mean, I would classify it as a woody gourmand. I mean, it is. I mean, it's woody. You get this bready quality to it. You get that fruitiness. I mean, not necessarily. I would say it's like semi-gourmand. Like it doesn't smell exactly like something, but people are going to smell it and be like, huh, that kind of reminds me of dates. Or that reminds me of my unicorn frappuccino from Starbucks. I don't know. I've never had one of those. I don't even know what those taste like. So don't quote me on that because I'm
actually working on a plum one. Yeah.
Oh, cool. But Epis Fern, I freaking love. And Ood Cafe, I will wear more once it gets a little bit cooler outside. Even like me wearing Blackwood Sun today, with the humidity here. It's a lot. Like I got in the car before I cranked it, I was like, oh my God, I can taste my fragrance. Like I could taste it. I was like, oh wow,
it's strong. Yeah,
it's super strong. I mean, I would say like pretty much 90% of your fragrances are very, very long lasting, very, very strong.
Well, see, and this is where I've kind of ran it. So when I originally made my perfumes, I wanted them to be around like 20-25% concentration. So like an average perfume that you would buy at like a big department store, if it's eau de parfum, it's usually 15 to 20 at most, if you're lucky, because obviously they're trying to make money. You know what I mean? And it's not, they still make good fragrances, don't get me wrong, but there's lot of overhead. So when I made them, I wanted them to be like EDP plus. That was kind of, and I could have just called them EDP plus because nobody ever done that. So I think that would be kind of, and that's pretty much what they are, is like EDP plus. Parfum is 20 to 30%. So
you should call them eau de parfum maximum overload.
So there you go, max overdrive. Yeah,
there you go.
Or maximum. I think it's
so. Heath Howard says, "Hey guys, I've been listening in the background. Love everything Michael has been doing. Just keep my credit card on file." Gotcha. I'm sure he will. You can go ahead and leave.
So that's probably the best thing is the majority of people I've just surpassed 600 sales, which is awesome. But the majority of the people who buy from me actually come back. So that's the biggest thing. I think that's the hardest.
Baby, come back.
Exactly. Any company, let alone perfume, because there's so many different perfumes out there, is to get people coming back to buy your product is extremely difficult because there's just so much out there, man.
That's true.
It's an oversaturated market. I hate to say it. There's too many brands out there. And, I don't do the whole send out free bottles because I don't have huge profit margins on my bottles as is. I really don't. So I can't do wholesale. So like I've actually been reached out to by quite a few stockists and some of the bigger ones. But they, you know, asking, hey, we've been watching you for the last year on Instagram. We really like what you're doing. And we think that you're underpricing your perfumes. And we know for a fact there's no way you can probably wholesale. And it's true. Like I can't wholesale. So I'm missing out on a large chunk of the market because I can't go into those big markets where it's like you go and I'm not going to drop their name obviously, but like, so you go and you shop there and they have all the brands you need, or you go, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of them and I just can't.
Don't ever say can't, because you did do something smart. And I'll tell you in just a second. Let me get caught up on a couple of these.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Ice cold beverage. I like cold beverage. Ayo. I like cold beverage. Ayo. Anybody know this? The band?
I don't know.
G Love and Special Sauce, baby.
I do know G Love.
That's G Love and Special Sauce.
I actually saw him in concert quite a lot.
Me too.
Yeah.
What is it?
Just Fine has always been my favorite song.
Great song. Anyways, he says, cheers, Brian. I picked up Wasteland Warrior last year based on your recommendation. Good stuff. Damn right. Absolutely. I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. Let's see. Blackwood Sun smells so good when you walked in the apartment. I know. It's because I always smell good. Sure, Brian. That's what Autumn said.
Yeah.
Sure, Brian. LOL. I don't know. I can't see the little. Is that a unicorn? I think that's a unicorn. Blackwood Sun is so good. I get so much tea from it, and I love it. And it does. I get tea, and I love the spicy. It's a sexy fragrance, man. Just gonna put that.
I actually wear that quite a lot.
Yeah,
I do. The way the blood orange mingles with that tea, and then you get the vetiver, and then you get the patchouli fraction. The very clean patchouli in it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the patchouli.
Yeah.
The blood orange. I don't get a whole lot of the tea off my skin. I mean, I get it, but the blood orange, and I think that because I love blood orange, and just the woodiness and the patchouli with that spicy quality. Oh my god, it's so good. Let's see here. Michael, you just chatting with me on Insta about horror flicks won me over. A small thing like that means a lot to your customers. Absolutely, man. I look like an old man trying to sit here and back.
Well, at least you use a computer. I'm sitting here using my phone. Like,
True.
I can't see myself and I can't see you. Like Instagram.
Keep it in the fridge. Keep it in the fridge. Yeah, Boogie Daddy's he's singing along with me with some G Love Special Sauce. Keep it in the fridge. 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 Anyways, oh yeah, it's a famous song.
The Expendables, and
yeah,
awesome song, man.
Yeah, man. So like I said, I'll be in Vegas the 29th. So Autumn and I are going to Vegas.
Oh, nice.
She's taking me for my birthday, but we're going to see Leon Bridges, and I'm super pumped for that.
Nice. That'll be a good time.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great time. We're also going to see Chris Angel. Mind freak. And then we're going dune bugging, and I'm gonna gamble all my money away. I'm just kidding. I hope I make a bunch of money.
Yeah, don't lose your money, because that's the thing, dude.
I already have. I'm a YouTuber. I lose my money every day.
Yeah, true. But no, gambling's fun. But boy, dude, if you lose your money, you just go home so depressed. Like it kills the rest of the vibe of the entire weekend. I'm
a really good poker player. I'm
myself.
Yeah, I'm a Texas Hold'em. Sit down, waste 8 hours. I don't even want to call it waste 8 hours of my day. 8 hours goes by very fast when you're playing Texas Hold'em.
I used to love Texas Hold'em, man. Maybe we'll have to play together. I used to be actually really good at it.
Well, the last time I went down to Vegas, and this is actually the last time I actually went, I won $16,000.
Well, shit.
So I'm hoping that I can keep that streak going. Do it again. Yeah, man. Then shit, dude. I'll buy a house instead of getting it apart. I'm just kidding. I won't buy a house. I'm not in Chattanooga.
16 grand. You just put a down payment at something.
Rodeo Clowns is also a great G Love and Special Sauce song. Man, God.
Now you're just going down the rabbit hole.
Oh, dude, I saw G Love and Special Sauce with Jack Johnson. He's bringing up Jack Johnson. Rodeo Clowns is actually Jack Johnson. Oh, well, actually, I guess they were both. Now that I think about it, now that he's saying that, yeah, I guess they were both because I think Rodeo Clowns came out on that same album that Cold Beverages came out. Anyways, but yeah, man, so cool. I'm glad. I'm looking forward to Gardenia. Are you doing anything else other than the Gardenia? You working on anything else? You working on a My2Scents?
Yeah, there's always
for the scent of it.
Yeah, there's always something going on. I mean, I'm working on a plum scent. Added some oud to it and a few other notes, and it started leaning because I always loved plum Japanese.
Plum Japanese.
Yeah. So I was saying this to Faz too. I'm like, it was going so well. I added the oud to it, and all of a sudden it like took it in this whole other direction because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try to dirty it up a little bit. And yeah, so now I'm kind of going from scratch because I'm like, I'm at the same time as I'm happy because I'm gonna end up wearing that one that I made. I'm not trying to, if you want something close to that, I know that it got discontinued and people are like, oh, it sucks, which it does suck because it's one of the best fragrances. Mind you, the one I made, it's not just like it, but the fact that it kind of reminds me of it a little bit. I wanted to do something different. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
right.
That I got a whole lot to still work.
Well, I got a name for you, dude. You create your plum fragrance and then you call it Plum Stupid. But STOOPID.
Like slightly.
Like slightly stupid. Wow. Okay. I'm glad you know. See? Like that.
Dude, when Cronkitis came out, man, I saw him live in concert. I had 2 a.m. man. That entire album, amazing.
Yeah.
I've seen Slightly Stupid in concert like 5-6 times.
I've seen them a lot too.
Yeah. Them, the Expendables, Iration, you name it, buddy.
Oh well, hell yeah. All right. Cool. See, you're not that much younger than me. You can still
I'm
keep
32.
up.
I just look a lot younger, man. I can't help it. Genetics.
Yeah, right.
But what were you going to say? No, so when I was talking about wholesale, you were like, you did one thing right. I'm curious.
Oh, well, because you got 30 mLs. You still can work your way up, and that's where you can start working your profit margins because, people will probably most likely go for the 30 mLs, but you can start phasing those out. At some point and then bring them back in. I would say, if you have a good following and you have people who believe in what you do and the fragrances you're putting out, I think that as long as they support you and they support what you're doing, it's okay. Like if you went to 100 ml and you're paying, you're charging say $200. I'm just saying $200 or plus. People are going to buy it. And that's where you can actually bring your, and get into those stores and things like that.
No, I get what you mean, yeah. With the 30 ml, I mean, I didn't mark them up a whole lot. I mean, I really didn't. Because the whole idea behind For the Scent of it was, so when I was a collector, it was just, dude. So first off, YouTube.
For the Scent.
I love YouTube. Love it. Yeah. Love Fragrantica. I love the community. But the fact that packaging started becoming more important than the fragrance, and anybody can disagree with me all they want, the truth of the matter is packaging became more important than the scent. I mean, and I believe that packaging should be nice, but it should not be what it's about. And that's kind of what it is its perceived value. And I say this a lot, and I know people probably disagree or think that, well, I don't. I know it's perceived value. So if you put something in a crystal bottle, you can sell it for $1,000 because people are like, oh, it's in crystal. That scent is the exact same that's in the bottle that is 150 and it's tough for people to swallow. And I hate to be the guy to feed it to them. But the truth of the matter is perfume should be about the scent. It should not be about extravagant packaging that has. It can be, but that should be a sliver of the market. It shouldn't be all about, hey, check out this beautiful bottle. And that's how it all began when I started watching reviews on YouTube, and it was people discussing the packaging more so than the scent. There was one review I saw, and he never even mentioned the scent. He got so carried away with the packaging that he never even dove into what the scent was. I'm like, what's the point, man? It's not even about perfume. At that point, it's literally about a decoration.
Yeah.
And go buy an empty bottle and save yourself a bunch of money if you don't care about what's on the inside.
I mean, no, I totally get it, man. But for me, like there are certain brands that I'm like, man, I can't believe they put so much time into their packaging.
And you know,
and I'm like, I think the thing is you're right. I 100% agree. Packaging is nothing. Like at the end of the day, you're going to throw the bottle away when it's empty.
Well, no,
you're not going to keep it.
The bottle, right? So the bottle, that's not what I'm talking about.
Like the box.
I was talking about a crystal bottle. Like, yes, that I was kind of going on a tangent. So if you have a really beautiful bottle and a beautiful box and all that, it's perceived value. Just like when you go into a bar and you pick up a stool. If that stool is heavy versus it being light, you know what I mean? You're going to think that bar, you'll buy a drink there. Just like if you walk into a restaurant, if it is a beautiful plate on your table versus a paper plate, you know what I'm saying? It's all perceived value. Yeah. So it's the same thing with perfumery. Before you even smell the fragrance, and I see people talk about this all the time, before you even pick up the scent and spray it, if that bottle is in a plastic bottle, and I actually did this myself at a market, I had the same exact scent, dude, in a plastic bottle versus the bottles I have there, and they actually thought that the scent was different coming out of the glass bottle because it's perceived value. And when I told them it's the same exact scent, all of a sudden it hit them. But if you let them smell it blind and they think it's a different scent, they will 9 times out of 10, most people will think it's either better materials. It's the same scent, but it's better materials in the glass bottle, that's what I started realizing. But like a box. So a box, I mean, come on.
You don't need a box. You don't need a box. If anything,
the boxes. Now there are people, like I know Glenn, me and him talked about it. He said that he actually stores all of his boxes in huge containers in the garage. I'm like, all right, well, I get that. But at the same time, what's the point? like a velveteen box, right? So I use a velvet drawstring bag. Like now I have the For the Scent of It logo on a white, and it's got that clean look, and I think it's
I like those, by the way.
Yeah, so you can use them for something. But like, dude, the boxes from when I was a collector, they literally are either in the garbage or they're still just sitting around the bottle in my closet. And it's like, I like the bottle. The bottle's more important in my opinion.
I do mine just in case I ever decide to sell it. I mean, here's the thing that
sure.
If you ever decide to sell a fragrance,
be devil's advocate.
Yeah. If you ever decide to sell a fragrance, you're going to get more money for it if it comes in the original packaging. Just like if you ever get a watch or shoes,
a toy,
or anything that you collect, keep the original packaging because it'll be worth more value if you ever decide to sell it again.
Oh yeah.
Like I couldn't take Dior Homme Parfum and sell it. I could get an extra $100 out of it if I sold it with a box.
Yeah, I still got the original in the box.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, so like even for me, like right now I'm decluttering. I'm doing like a big declutter. So I'm selling some stuff on Mercari, but so I gotta go. The problem is I gotta go hunt for all the boxes again. I have so many, but anyways, again, perceived value. The same thing as you said is like, if I just sell the bottle, I'm not going to get as much, even though it doesn't matter.
I know, it's interesting, isn't it? And you know what? This is what starting this company, I've always kind of understood people. So I've just always been good creative writing. Like I've always just had like this brain about me that was interested in people, the psychology of people. So having a company now, you start to understand how just interacting with customers, for instance, and just interacting with people more on a day-to-day basis, even beforehand. Yeah. And you start to understand what people really look for in a product, for instance, because I'm not the only one. You see it too. Like there are an endless stream of products hitting the market every day now. There's always something new, like a new soap company, and they're trying to figure out. And I've noticed comedy has become more a thing because people are so tired of all the seriousness. So I've always been a jokester, right? So like I try not to joke around too much. Like if I talked really the way I usually talk with like my wife and everything, you probably would end up having the video taken down. But I've always believed in just being, I just like to be real with people. And I don't like so many people put on like this, especially companies, they put on the suit and they put on this air of quality. Like I can tell you my scents are quality. I don't need to wear a suit to let you know that like what you're buying is a good perfume. You know what I mean? But it's all this thing. And I'm starting to realize just the more, I just prefer to like like me and you talking right now. Like I would not guess that you bought my Perfumer if you were just a friend down the street. You know what I mean? And that's the type of connection I like having with a customer, where, you know how many customers still, like, I get a message from Eric from Michigan. He'll send me like a picture of the flowers that are blooming, and he's like, "Oh, Mike, you got to get your hands on Buddha wood." And he's bought like 10 perfumes because he's like, they're just amazing. And there's a guy, Sean, in Vegas, and like all these guys that they just keep F. And that's what I like about having this company. Mind you, it's tiring because it's a lot of people, because I hate not messaging people. But as a customer myself, like, there's nothing worse than reaching out to a company and not hearing back from them for 2 weeks. Because at that point, I don't care anymore. Like, yeah, I had a problem, but now it's like I've moved on.
Yeah.
So
I found somebody else.
Exactly. I try to communicate with people as best I can as a one-man band. I mean, literally, I'm sitting here just slapping cymbals together with my knees and playing guitar. You know what I mean? So it's a juggling act. And I could have taken an easier route and bought pre-made fragrance oils, because I can tell you right now, there's a lot of brands. I would never name a name or anything, but there's a lot of brands that buy pre-made fragrance oils. You buy like a Sauvage perfume oil from China on Alibaba, you dilute it and you sell it and say, "Hey, I made it." So that's out there, and it's an easy way to have a company. Like, anybody can do it, man. I mean, and it's a profitable company. So, but if you want to make like a perfume, I just felt like that way it's BS in my opinion. I mean, but
well, just like Lord Sharfield says, you got to have some fun, man. Yeah. And then Pop Fritz says, be yourself and be that well and do that well. I mean, it's true. I mean, honestly, I think you're doing a great job, man. Yeah, I think you're putting out some awesome fragrances. I've been supporting you since I don't even know how long it's been. I think
you first bought Wasteland, I want to say like December. Yeah, December or January. Ken reached out.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And man, I've been, building that type of, side of my collection. I'm a little bit different. Like I get it. I understand. Like, as I said in a video not too long ago, I want to be a fragrance reviewer for the people. I don't want to just be like for one genre or one niche. Like, of course, I like niche. I like all fragrances. I don't give a shit if it's cologne fragrances to a Raja parfums, like super luxurious. Like, I just love smelling stuff, and if I smell it, I like it, I buy it.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, that's the kind of collector I am. That's just who I am. And now, now being, and I think it's so funny. Is like a lot of people are like, well, you haven't reviewed, the newest new designer fragrance out. I'm like, well, I went and tried it. I didn't like it, so I'm not going to review it.
Yeah.
Like you never.
So you don't do. So that's the other thing I noticed too. Like if somebody doesn't like a scent, is that just like this misspoken thing, or like this unspoken, like, if you don't like a fragrance, don't review it? Because I don't really come across a lot of reviews where people actually say something bad anymore.
No, I mean, I think the difference is, like, I've gotten fragrances that don't work. Like, I don't particularly like them.
Well, no, it's a personal opinion.
Yeah, it's all personal.
I think a lot of people lose sight that, like, your opinion, Brian, it is not my opinion, buddy. You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
I respect your opinion, and I think a lot of viewers respect your opinion, because I do know, obviously, like, so for instance, I can tell your taste is probably similar to mine just watching your videos. And I think so when a viewer sees that, that's one thing. But like, if I just came across your video, to go and blind buy, hey, I just talked about this new scent, and I just came across your video, I don't know you from a stranger in the street. You can't go off of your word just because, hey, you have, say, 3,000-4,000 followers or 100,000 followers. Just because you have that does not mean that your opinion is going to be the same taste as mine.
No, absolutely not. And never will be.
Yeah.
It never will be. It's like, if somebody comes at me and they're like, oh my God, I blind bought this fragrance because you liked it and I hate it. I'm like, well, you're a dumbass. You blind bought it. I always say, test drive before you buy. Test drive every single. I mean, I think I said it yesterday. I was like, or the day before, I was like, I always say, test drive before you buy. You got to test it out. Because somebody asked me, I was sitting at Main Street Meats, and they asked me, I met another owner of like another pizza place. I'm gonna go do another one of these videos at, and they were like, so how do you recommend fragrances when it's like the body chemistry is what makes the fragrance? I was like, man, that is a really good question. That is like the best question. It's not like, oh, you're a fragrance reviewer. Like, how do you do that? No, I mean, she actually had, I was like, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
I was like, I always recommend things that I enjoy, but I also recommend things that I don't like. Like I always say, go out and try it for yourself. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean you're not going to like it.
You know what? I'm surprised no reviewer such as yourself has done yet. Just put a disclaimer in the bottom of the video describing your skin style. Like, hey, I have dry skin. It's ashy.
I would love to, but I'm going to tell you this, man. People do not pay attention. Like, there's many times I've had people come back at me on videos. I think it was even your video, like my video with Tobacco Pod, where I said it smells similar to tobacco vanille. He went and bought it. And he bitched at me because it smelled similar to tobacco vanille. I'm like,
yeah, I mean,
I've actually it's in the video
black for it too, because it's I didn't say like, look, this was heavily influenced by that scent, but it was more of a pride thing. Like when I released that, dude, you don't have any idea how happy I was when I figured that.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It really is. That's one of my favorite fragrances.
So I released it because I'm like, you know what? First off, it's an expensive scent. I actually had a friend of mine who I introduced to Tom Ford fragrances because I took him to Nordstrom's and I had him smell them. He ended up spending the $330 on a bottle of it. And when he smelled, after all of my trials and tribulations trying to figure out breaking down that damn fragrance, and he's like, dude, it's kind of good. It's similar. It's very similar, but it's good in its own right because it's not the same tobacco note. It's not the same spices. It is different. It's obviously not the same because I'm not perfect, dude. Like no matter how much I worked on it, there's no way I'm going to get it identical. It's just not going to happen. So it was a heavy inspiration. That was the whole idea behind Tobacco Pod, man. It was like when I find as a independent self-taught perfumer, if you can replicate something even remotely close, the pride, dude, that's just like trying to learn Stairway to Heaven without a tab. You know what I mean? Like if you can figure it out by ear.
Did it. I'm just kidding. Actually, I never learned that from a tab. I had a friend who taught me how to play it.
But there you go, right? So that the pride you feel when you learn a song, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I mean, when it's kind of like that's the reason I look forward to going back to bartending. And, that's here's another reason I look forward to it because, moving to my new place or whatever, I'm going to set up a bar and I'm going to be doing a lot of perfume and cocktail videos because they correlate really well together. And there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to bartend, but they also don't know shit for shit when it comes to perfume. And they want to smell good. But you know what? I'll tell you one thing is you want to smell like whatever your like cocktails coming out in front of you. Like if you were able to go to a bar and be like, you're wearing a fragrance and you're like, you have a cocktail card and you hand it to the bartender, make this for me, because you're getting that aroma coming from the cocktail that whoever you're chatting with, they're going to smell it from your cocktail. They're going to smell it off of you. It's just like a huge, just whirlwind of scent.
Well, and that's like black sales, right? So most people, when they smell it, they love it. And like whenever I'm a vendor at a market, everybody like that's the one the majority of people buy. Like they just, Blackwood Sun's a big hit. Nearly New is a big hit at the markets. But when I tell them the gin,
let her pop.
What's that?
I was saying bye-bye to Pop Fritz, and then I'm also going to say bye to Boogie Daddy.
Gotcha.
All right, sorry.
Later, guys. So yeah, what I was going to say is though, like the gin note. And then I tell them like, yeah, no, there's a gin accord in the top. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, I'm a big dringy. Like the wife or the husband will be like, well, I'm a big gin drinker. So let me smell that. I'll let you know if it smells like gin. And sure enough, they smell and they're like, usually smile. They're like, okay, yeah, that actually smells like a high quality gin. And you're right. Alcohol and spirits and like a good blended cocktail, I guess obviously there's ethanol, there's alcohol in perfume. So you're always going to get that underlying note of alcohol, especially in a citrus fragrance. That's like people will just spray it and they're like, oh God, I get a blast of alcohol. And it's like, well, yeah, you got to let it dry off. Let that ethanol evaporate off your skin right away because it's going to burn out your nose.
Right.
But yeah, that's black sails, man. That was the concept, is like, I was going to make a rum fragrance because the pirate ship idea, right? And then I'm like, well, did they drink anything else? You always hear yo-ho-ho and a bottle of rum and everything like that. Obviously, they probably drank some weird concoctions like port wine or who knows, like fermented fruit. Sure enough, there was gin. There was pirates gin back then. So that they brought obviously from Europe as they went over across the seas. But I'm like, all right. And I ran with it. And that's where black sails came from.
Yeah. No, it's a good gin note, man. Yeah, back in pirate days, it was rum.
Yeah.
Gin.
Yeah.
Cognac.
Okay. Yeah. Fruit. Yeah.
And brandy.
Yeah.
And Armagnac, which is basically brandy, cognac. You know, same realm.
Well, yeah, because cognac is just brandy, just aged in bourbon barrels, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty much. And then you have Armagnac, which is it goes through two different types of. It goes through pot still fermentation or distillation, and then also column still distillation. So it goes through a. I mean, I could go in through a whole freaking
it's just like distillation of essential oils, like
right,
all these different distillations, absolutes, things like that, CO2. There's all sorts of things. I didn't notice bartending. You're getting back into bartending at like a prime time because, like, the flavorings, man, the things that they are adding into cocktails nowadays is like it's become like its own perfumery, man.
No, you have no idea. Yeah, no, it's been like that since pre-prohibition, man. The thing is a lot of people, like the craft cocktail world, probably I would say in the last 15 years has really become more substantial. But now I think they were just dipping their toes in. Like that's why I was like, man, like getting back to the basics. Like you got to go back to the basics. You got to go back to like the vintage cocktails, like what started all. And like the Sazerac, the Cosmopolitan, and the Manhattan, the Vieux Carré, all these different cocktails. Like, go back and let's start. We're not reinventing the wheel. Let's bring back that tradition. Go back to the Beachcomber's Guide to tiki cocktails and bringing back the familiarity and the famous quality of like true like tiki cocktails. Like,
well, see, and I'm sure you've noticed it too. So I've had this talk with like younger people, like in 18, 19, my nephew who's like 17. So did you notice, because you grew up in the 90s, did you notice like that is the new trend, right? Is 80s and 90s, and everybody, like, dude, I've seen people walking around in Jinkos. I'm like, what is happening?
Yep, they're back, dude. They're back.
Like, what is going on? And then platform shoes. I was at the store and I saw platform Vans. I was like, so I think people are trying to, I think because obviously with COVID and everything, I think people are just trying to like go back to a simpler time. And as much as social media is everybody's kind of, I mean, we're pretty much kind of robots at this point because our phone is pretty much an extension of ourselves at this point.
Yeah, social media is the new orgasm. It's been it's basically what's happening.
Trying to go back to somewhat of a simpler time because they just obviously when you watch stuff from the 90s, like when we grew up, and obviously I was born in 89, so you were born in what, 85? No, 86. 84?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, you said you're 38, right?
Yeah.
Gonna be 38. All right. So yeah. So you were a child in the 80s, and then you grew up
in the 90s.
So you knew. I mean, it was a whole different time. Just before cell phones, it was very different, man.
Completely different. So Smellworthy was asking, was Black Sails at all influenced by Millesime Imperial from Crete?
Not even remotely, no.
No, I wouldn't say so either.
No, no. Well, I was gonna say, I remembered somebody saying that either in a review or they said it on Instagram. And when they said it, I was actually really surprised because, I have an old bottle of Millesime Imperial that I actually studied like intently trying to figure out how the hell it was made. But no, there's nothing really in
just
that's like it.
Just ask our moth because they nailed it. No, they really did, honestly.
Well, Love and Luck is actually somewhat similar. You can smell it's different, but it's similar. Yeah.
Love and Luck. Is it Love and Luck?
Ed Hardy, Love and Luck.
Well, I was gonna say the women's version actually has a vodka note in it. Yeah. Anyways, all right. So we are over 2 hours, guys. I've got to eat dinner. I got to eat din. I got to feed the beast, man. Daddy's hungry.
Yeah, that was a long one.
Yeah, man. No. Always a pleasure, my friend. Like I said, sorry it took a little while. I know we've been chatting back and forth, and I'm just glad to finally get you on here with me, man.
Yeah, we'll have to. It's always good talking to you.
Absolutely. All right, guys. If you are seeing this in the future, go ahead and hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, join this stinking amazing fragrance family. Go check out Michael over at For the Scent of It. All of his information is linked down below. I've got his Instagram. I've also got still going. Joe said still going strong. Great stream. Yeah, we're about to leave. Anyways, all of his information, his Instagram and his Etsy account are down below. Link down below. Go check them out. You can get yourself little samples, which is a great way to test drive. If you do decide to buy a full bottle, I know Michael throws in some of these little testers in there as well. Cool stuff coming up, man. I'm looking forward to this gardenia fragrance, the plum fragrance, which we're already naming Plum Stupid. It's got to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so stinking much, Michael, for being a part. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. I look forward to trying. Actually, let me know whenever. What is it? Not Folktale.
Eastern Sea Moss.
Eastern Sea Moss. When is that available?
That'll actually be released. I'm gonna say I can't say a specific date, but probably in the next week or two. I'm just letting it kind of finish macerating is all. Yeah.
Cool. No worries, man. I definitely am gonna pick up a bottle of it.
Yeah.
I'm loving the salt. Like it dries down really nice and salty and very almost like seaweedy algae. That's nice. I like it.
Okay.
I like it. Okie dokie. All right, man. Well, that's it. Happy Friday, guys. Always stinking. Remember, you are stinking beautiful. And until next time, happy Centrals, guys.
Trails, right?
Amen to that. Love it.
Yeah. Take it easy.